What's fucking good, people? We did it. He's dead. He's fucking dead. We finally did it. It's taken a full 24 hours for this to settle in. And it's better than I ever could have imagined. I feel fucking amazing. We got him, boys. Cheers. Shout out to everyone who was here last night and everyone who wasn't. Fuck it. This was finally one for the gentleman. Fuck, that tastes sweet. Wagwan, how we doing, JVD? I'm never saying that again. I told you about JVD from day one. Bro, Aaron, I don't know if you were here yesterday. I don't know if it was you. I don't know who it was. I totally flip-flopped last night. And when I went on live, I flipped my pick to JDM. I put a sackload of money on him. And if you take a good look at Silk Pajamas, you'll see your boy right there near the top of the, well, second in the leaderboard. And that was JDM and Valentina Shevchenko points. I'm sober. Congratulations, bro. I'm glad you had a good night and you've discovered the magic of spoons. Be aware of that double-edged sword, though, because spoons is a beautiful discovery, but it can be the death of you. I remember when I was a student and I used to pop along there and get myself a pint for £3. It was a beautiful time. Aldo was such a little bitch. He proved it last night. Faked a nut shot and illegally hooked Ariel's glove. Ariel's? Dude was literally showing ref. I did see the glove grab. We're going to talk about this so-called robbery because there were a couple of contentious fights on this card that people were upset about. I don't remember you. Where's the actual host? I think you're thinking about Brutally Honest MMA, who is my co-host on this platform. He will be along any minute. So don't be put off by my shockingly scary face. Your boy Brute will be along anytime. As will Bodak, as will maybe one or two others. Discovered 650 for 4 shots. Yeah. I don't know how they're pulling it off. I guess because they're a chain or whatever. But yeah. Prepare for the magic. It's good. You're going to enjoy it for about 6 months. And then you're going to realize the darkness taking over. Weatherspoons is amazing, though. But yeah, apologies, Atomic. I know this must have been a little bit of a jump scare for you. Do we know how Bruno's doing and what injuries he actually sustained? So they did give us an update in the middle of the card, and they said he's alive. So that's about as good as it gets for him, I reckon. Like, physiologically, he's still around and kicking, but he's definitely dead inside. That was a brutal, well, destruction, really. It's hard to watch. Anyway, let me welcome Bodak in. How are we doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, Frankie?
Good, brother. How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear.
Nice. I did actually stay up and watch the whole card in the end. I just needed to duck out of the stream.
Yeah, no, I saw you were there virtually until the end. So well done, because it was kind of a shit show.
Yeah. The Bilal fight was more entertaining than expected. I thought it was like, oh, I can duck out now because the main event's going to be a bore fest. Turns out it was all right. I enjoyed it.
Do you know? I think you might have seen last night on stream. I was like ready to give up. The retardation was in full flow. I was ready to give up. I was tired. It was like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then we got the Aldo fight, and that kind of woke me up a little bit. I think that managed to sustain me until the end of the card.
Yeah, what the fuck happened to Aldo? Like halfway through that last round, he just stopped. Like I know, like you can gas out and stuff, but he stopped. He didn't. He was just. It's like it was a fucking zombie. Like he didn't even throw a punch.
I think he gave everything he had, and then I think we all saw it. When he, like when he soccer kicked him in the face, which was fucking amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
When he soccer kicked him in the head, and then sort of didn't manage to lead that to a finish. He looked at the clock, and then he kind of saw his face drop, and there was like 3 minutes left in the round. I knew he was fucked at that point. I think he just gave everything he had.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought he
And
was
that was it.
winning. He could have just managed that 3 minutes better, and he would have won that fight, I think.
Yeah, he was winning up until that point. I obviously had him winning the first round comfortably. I thought Zahabi, the contentious one for me, because a lot of people are calling robbery on this one. I think the first and third round were pretty clear. I think it's that second round that was the contentious one.
Yeah.
Because in the third one, he obviously dropped Zahabi twice, soccer kicked him in the face. So you'd think guaranteed 10-9 round. But then he got absolutely molested after that. So you're kind of like,
True, yeah.
So, and he looked, and visibly, in terms of the damage done, he had his face split open. He got wrecked in that round. So you got to give that round to Zahabi. And then in the second round, it was kind of a coin flip, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
he kind of fumbled it. I think he blew the finish and then fumbled it. I don't think anyone the thing is, it's one of those fights here where if you gave it to Aldo, I don't think anybody really would have complained. But you certainly can't complain about them giving it to Zahabi. It's just a shame
Yeah,
to
it's
go out
true.
that way.
My gut feeling was a robbery at first, but then, yeah, the more you think about it, I was just disappointed. I came to watch a legend fight, and watching him just literally just give up like that, I just couldn't. You don't expect it at that level, especially on the main pay-per-view as well. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And then to retire in Canada, that's a sorry way to go out.
It is, yeah.
Sorry,
Anyway,
that's not a
I,
country you want to retire in. But no, I mean, I thought, what did you think of the card overall, generally?
it was all
How did
right.
you? Mm,
That I can't remember which fight night it was. It was the one we were watching a few weeks ago. That fight night was
I can't
better than that
remember either.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think it was more
The
just
one we
funny because, like, I think we were just entertaining ourselves, just giving it to Juliana. Really,
yeah.
I don't really remember the fights that much on it, but a lot of things came out in that stream that were just funny. There was like, there were a few things he came out with that we turned, and I felt like we were turning and looking at each other like we were in the same room, and then we were like, did he just say that? And then we were sort of just like, bless him, he's got a good story. But I think I remember more about that than I do about the I can't even remember what fights like we were watching that night. I cannot remember.
Yeah, I don't think
But it
any
was
of
a good
those
one.
fights are going to be making like YouTube highlight reels or anything like that. I don't think any
No,
fights
I
this year would really.
no, it's I feel a bit bad for you being like, the first, like, this is your first year getting into it, staying up in the middle until the middle of the night or the early morning, as it is in our case. You becoming like, a fast track hardcore in the
Yeah,
space of
yeah,
a couple of months, and this is what you're being served up, is pretty
yeah.
unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. I was because I do watch fights on YouTube. Like I watch highlights and stuff. And do you know
Mhm.
what? Most of the ones that I watch are from 10+ years ago. I mean,
Yeah. The thing
there's
is as
not a
well
lot of
about this
fights.
sport. Yeah, the thing is about being a fan of this sport is like what you'll find, because it happened for me like 12 years ago, 13 years ago when I first started watching everything. You catch up with the law like really quickly, especially being like involved with other MMA. Well, I know you're not an MMA YouTube, an MMA YouTuber specifically, but sort of being around, you find that you pick up on the law really quickly
Yeah.
because it's just it's a fast track way of getting like intimate knowledge on what's going on. So you've got that as your benefit. You can go back and look at the past and see some great stuff that went on, because right now things are a little bit lacking.
Oh yeah. Oh,
But
I got the I got like what's the word? Well, I get to watch a lot of the things for the first time. So like one of the ones I was watching the other week was the Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell rivalry. And I've
beautiful.
watched the GSP career, the McGregor stuff. And it's like, yeah, I can see how this sport blew up watching that stuff, watching those fights.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting to watch all these things for the first time, it is brilliant. It's amazing. It's just a shame none of the stuff I'm enjoying is recent. I was watching I thought I'd catch up on Adesanya, see how
Mhm.
his career played out. I kind of got halfway through, stopped watching that. Good. It was good at the start. It was really good, his early fights, and then he got really boring once he became champion. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm slowly catching up. I do like the classic stuff. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of addicted to watching the classic fights on YouTube.
Yeah, it was kind of better back in the day when you had fighters that were sort of semi-professional and they were kind of they had their day jobs and they were like, just everyday men who were getting drunk on, drunk on a nightly basis and then getting in there and having a bit like it kind of shows you where the progression of like tough used to be to where it is now. But what
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed about having you as part of the community now is like when certain things come up and you're like for example, you're like John Jones. You're like John Jones did what? And then we get to relive it through your like he hit a pregnant lady and then he was doing
Yeah.
what? It's just
I
funny
saw
being
that
able to
video of
relive
him
that.
today. Did you see
Mm.
that video of him today on the back of some moped, looking like he was on
I
drugs?
saw I saw somebody posted it. It looked very zesty, didn't it? Very fruity.
Yeah. I mean, why is he on the
Definitely
back of
something
some
going on.
moped or bike with some other guy? And who's the other guy? And why does he look like he's completely off his fucking tits, like them two are gonna go off and do some gay shit behind closed doors, you know?
Oh,
That's
we
my impression
100%
I
know that
got.
was still going on. I mean, he does. I was saying this in the group chat as well. He does fit that archetype, doesn't he? Of like, somebody who's like a self-hating gay, basically.
Yeah.
It's like he's angry at what he is, I guess is what it. There's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out. I think a lot is being held behind the curtain with that guy, and when he retires or he pisses off the UFC once and for all, a whole load of stuff's just going to come out about him. That's going to be dark.
Yeah, I
But
can imagine that.
we've got
Do you
that to
think
look
he'll do
forward
do
to.
you think he'll do the Aspinall fight? I really wanna see that. Aspinall's one of the only fighters I'm excited to see fight again.
I mean, I made a bet with Giuliano that it wouldn't happen, and I kind of a lot of people gave me shit for that, but my rationale was like, I really badly want to see that fight. So my way was like, if I get paid off it and it doesn't happen, great. If it doesn't happen, I'll get a little bit of extra change, and then if it like does happen, then it's money that I'll happily hand over if we get that fight. So it kind of feels like a win-win for me. I still think it doesn't happen.
No?
I still think it doesn't. No, I don't. I think what's going to end up happening is the more you push something like this away, we saw it with Khabib and Tony a bunch of times where, we want something to happen over and over again, and then things just keep delaying it and delaying it. And then eventually it gets pushed out of the sphere altogether because eventually the universe just says this isn't supposed to be. And then it just doesn't happen. I feel like that's what we're going to get here. Because I
At what
personally
point
think,
does at
go
what
ahead.
point does Aspinall stop being interim and become actual champion if John
Well,
Jones isn't actually gonna defend?
this is where the issue is because I think that a lot of people are saying that Tom Aspinall wants Jones. I think what he wants is the belt more than anything else. And if they get to the point where the UFC are sick of negotiating with him, they'll just be like, "Fuck it, we'll make Aspinall's next fight for the official belt, and then he won't care anymore about fighting John Jones, because then John Jones will have to come after him, and that'll be a whole different thing."
Yeah.
Um, I think it's not. I think it's not going to happen. I genuinely think, and I just don't. I think that a lot of the arguments that people are making is that John Jones cares about money, and of course he does. He's going to get 30 million if he takes this fight. I think he cares
That's
about
what
his
my
legacy
gut's
more.
telling me. My gut's
I think he
telling me
cares
he's
about his
just
legacy,
playing hardball to get that fuck you money because he wants to retire after the fight.
but I think he's been offered it. I think the reason why the UFC has been so confident is because they probably thought to themselves, right, well, we're going to offer him the 30 million, and he's going to say yes. And then they've clearly offered him the 30 million, and he's gone, now I need 6 months or where. So it's just he's constantly finding a reason to kick it down the road. And Tom Aspinall's getting a little bit pissed off with the whole thing. I reckon he gets booked into another fight, and then that opens up a whole can of worms because he's got injury history. Anything can happen when you get in a fight where you put two heavyweights together. There's every likelihood. I mean, people shit on Cyril Gane, for example. There's nothing to say that he easily gets through that fight. I personally think he does, but does he get injured? And then it gets kicked. So I'm just feeling like when you've got a fight like this, you have to make it happen. And I feel like it's on John. I didn't think the reason why it hasn't happened now is because of John Jones
Yeah. I don't
purely.
like what really pisses me off is when you listen to Dana White in any conversation about John Jones. He's very much adopted an attitude where John Jones can do what he wants. And that pisses me off. I'm like, hang on, who's like Dana White when he's in conversation about John Jones, it seems quite clear that he seems to think John Jones is bigger than the UFC. The way he kind of treats him, It's like,
well, I think what it comes down to is because John Jones is because of what he's done in the sport. Dana White wants to establish MMA or an MMA fighter as he keeps using this term, the baddest man on the planet, you know, because that was used to vault Mike Tyson into the stratosphere of being this is the most scary guy in the world because he's the heavyweight champion of boxing. So he
but that
wants
was
somebody that he
organic.
can.
With Mike Tyson, though, that was
It
organic.
was organic. It was organic. But the thing is that with John Jones, because of the nature of what the sport is, he's trying to make the case of, well, in MMA, you can do anything. So he's shifted that narrative from baddest man in the planet to if you put any guy in a room with John Jones, he's the one that walks out. And he's the only guy he can put that on because he's a heavyweight champion and because you can pretty much do anything in MMA. And he's got this oppositional stance against boxing. I think that's why he's propping John Jones. I don't think it's because he loves John Jones or John Jones isn't difficult to deal with or whatever. I think it's his attempt to put MMA as the dominant martial art on the planet. And his way of doing that is being like, John Jones is the GOAT of MMA and is therefore the GOAT of all combat sports. And again, it pushes UFC to the top of that stratosphere.
Exactly that. Exactly that. It's
legitimacy.
That's what it is.
Legitimacy. Welcome, Brutally.
Yeah.
Good to have you here, brother.
You're right, boys.
I got a bit of shtick when we first jumped on because they were like, "Who's this ugly cunt? Where's that handsome devil Brutally that I'm used to tuning in on?" I was like, "Whoa, don't leave right now, because he's going to be along in a minute." And here you are.
Isn't your avatar supposed to be an Italian flag, Brutal?
Yeah, but this is Restream, so the avatar profile picture on Restream is different. So
are you questioning Brutal's integrity?
I'm just saying we can't give Gilly a hard time over the Tash if you're not going to follow through on your side of the bet you did lose.
Oh yeah, he only claimed the profile picture on YouTube.
Okay, fair enough.
It was very specifically in the fine print. Very specific.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Brutal, he's shaving again. By the way, he's pushed it back again. Have you heard?
No, I've not heard this. No, why?
Last night, apparently, he's now got another date or meeting with some girl, and he's now not gonna.
Oh fuck that! I'm taking it down
another week.
I'm taking it down.
No, here's where we've got to keep the moral high ground. If we keep the, he's going to be here to answer for his crimes very shortly, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, okay. When he comes, I'll leave it up until he comes.
Yeah, apparently that's the deal because we've got to make sure that he has an understanding of once we have because he's kind of trying to back out on the mustache. Like the mustache growing time is included in the span of how long he has to keep it for, and I'm like, you could just be very slightly, digging away at it in the background and keeping it short until the 30 days or for as long as the 30 days as possible. We need a ridiculous handlebar to reach its full bloom.
Yeah, of course we do. Otherwise, it's for a mustache. Yeah, you could keep a fucking stubble. Otherwise, he'll just have stubble. That wasn't the bet I agreed to.
Yeah, it's amazing how this has been the line in the sand that we've come to, where it's like it's the stash that's got everyone so.
He's a fucking worm. He's a fucking worm. I had him on chess. He didn't want to do terms, and then we had a couple of games. Like, nah, you can't do terms now. And then last night we were trying to come to terms over the picks bet, and he was trying to make it out like because he's behind, he deserves better odds and all that kind of thing. I was like,
this is what I said was going to happen, and that's why I was pushing for it, the stipulations to get made because I knew he was going to get like 13-5 down or whatever, or 14-7 down, which is probably going to end up happening next week, and then he's going to be like, "Well, bro, I've got much less chance of winning here," so he's going to try and get you to bet more than him. In the hope that and I'm like, no, it's got to be from where the bet was established when you were both at 0-0. It's got to be equal on both sides. And he was looking at me like, the fuck?
Well, I've agreed to a straight up £250 bet.
You had to, because I'm telling you now, if you'd done some kind of like shave your balls or I don't know what the fuck you guys are into, but it's
how am I supposed to prove that as a VTuber? Trust me, bro, I've shaved them.
But you know what I'm saying? I knew this was coming, so I think he's kind of wishing that I didn't get involved in a little way because I had to stop. I think going for the money was the best way because I think if you'd gone for like a silly bet or whatever, it would have dragged out for ages.
Yeah.
And we would have.
I already know what I'm spending the money on. I'm going to put it on that AI thing I was telling you about. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's
like
brutally.
That's nearly 4 months. That's nearly 4 months of the granddaddy package of that AI thing. You don't like it when I call it the granddaddy package, do you?
No, no, I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you. I didn't like it when I thought that's what they named it. But now that I know that you've named it that, I'm all on board.
So that's Bodak's.
That's what Bodak's coining it. He's like,
that interesting choice of words there, Bodak.
You've just revealed a lot.
Granddaddy package.
You've revealed a lot about yourself for this one.
No, it's good. I think if I get the money out of him, yeah, I'll just use it to pay for the subscription for AI for 4 months.
You'll get the money out of him. I think when it comes to money bets, he's pretty down the line. I mean, we can all criticize him, or not criticize him, but banter with him about X, Y, and Z. But I think when it comes to paying his debts, like from what I've seen, mostly he pays up. I mean, I'm saying this like this should be some kind of compliment, but it's what you do when you lose a bet, I guess.
Yeah, but he is developing a reputation as a bet ducking sausage.
A little bit. Well, the mustache just stands above all because it's.
He agreed to it.
He agreed to it, but it blows my mind that he's like, no, I'm only going to make the mustache when it's not inconvenient to my life, and we're all supposed to go, okay,
yeah,
all right, that's fair. When you're not meeting anyone, or it's going to create a funny situation. That's the whole point of it. You're supposed to look ridiculous.
What Giuliano wants to do is he wants to lock himself away for 2 months, which will never happen, and grow this mustache in secret, and then reveal it and shave it off. But it'll never happen.
It's going to get to a point where we're going to have to make him buy a fake one
and just stick it on for a month. Well, every time he goes on stream, he just has to have an over-the-top Mario cartoon mustache like stuck to his face.
Yeah, because we don't get to see him in his real life, so it makes no difference to us if he peels it off to go and see these girls. But on stream for a month, he should have some sort of.
But you see, the thing we're flapping now. We're letting him off the hook
because we are changing the goalposts, and then that allows him to then retrospectively change every bet that he's ever takes going forward.
Because if we don't take a hard line now, he's going to do it in the future. He'll be like, well, you never said this, and then he'll be looking for loopholes, and then the whole system will just fall down. We have to be firm. It has to be you grow the full mustache, and then when it's at its full bloom, and I'm calling it a bloom, fuck it, I think it's appropriate. When it's at full bloom, then the clock starts.
Yeah.
And the thing is that he has to do that now with all the stalling. With all the stalling, that's the least he owes the entire community. The thing is that after all this, it's going to be so underwhelming when he eventually does it, because it's like we've been campaigning for this, what it feels like, for ages.
Yeah.
And now it's just like when he finally does it, it's going to be so underwhelming. It's just going to be a fucking mustache at the end of the day. But it's the principle, boys. We have to stick to our principles.
I think Gilly knows that the tash is grown as well. The screenshots of him with the tash are never going to go away.
No, I said Gilly. It's not like when you call. Fuck it. It's not like when you
call him Gailey.
I had a bit of a brutally Balal moment there. That was my moment. We can stick to that.
Did you guys do a watch along last night?
Yeah, we did. It was a tough one. It was a tough one.
I watched it today, and I felt like the card was better than I was expecting. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it was quite a good one. But you looked rough. I saw a clip, and you looked rough this morning, Frankie. You looked rough this morning.
The thing is, because I wasn't planning. It was the same as when Bodak and Giuliano and I did one a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't planning on going live. I just thought like I'd do an hour and a half or something and then fuck off. But then a couple people jumped on and I was like, fuck it, I'm watching it anyway. And by the time it got to 5 a.m., I was dying.
Yeah,
I was ready. And
usually the case.
The conversation was lagging. We were like 6.5 hours in. I mean, it was lagging probably about 45 minutes in, if I'm being honest. But
and it went on till 7 a.m. as well. It's like pretty brutal.
And I had to be up at 10. So go ahead.
Did you see the scorecards? I'm just looking at the scorecards. Interesting. So
for which fight?
In the Kutalaba fight, we've got
this was the first one. We should start with this one. This was an interesting one. First of all, who did you have to fight for?
Yeah, I had it Cutelaba. I had it Cutelaba. I think he was backing off way too much, and it didn't seem decisive enough for me to I don't know. I'm more annoyed with the refereeing than the judging this card. But go on, you tell me your guys. You were watching it live. What was your?
I mean, with that fight particularly, I saw the fight in two ways. So I said it at the time when I was watching it live. I felt like Cutelaba was more active, but I felt like
he was the more aggressive fighter.
He was the one pressing forward, and he was doing damage against the cage and stuff. But I also thought that it was Bukauskas who was landing the more significant strikes. So he probably was landing less than him, but he was landing with more FUD. That's what I felt.
Okay.
But I think what the issue was with the one that really baffled me though is if you score in that fight, I had it as either you give it 30-27 to Cutelaba, 29-28 to Cutelaba, or 29-28 to Bukauskas. There was no fucking way that you could give it 30-27 to Bukauskas, which is what one of the judges had, and I think that's what made people go mad because it felt like a pre-written scorecard. How can you give him round 2? It's mad.
And how can you have 3 judges that inconsistent? Yeah, like, it's really inconsistent. One's giving it to one guy fully unanimous. One's giving it to the other unanimous, and then one's giving it 2-1.
My AI predicted like a crazy close fight. It scored it.
It was crazy close, yeah.
39-34.
I mean, I'm looking at the stats now, and the Cutelaba seems to have outstruck every round.
Yeah, but I think this is where the contention comes in because, like I said, I think in round 1, I felt Bukauskas landed better. And I feel like he landed slightly better in round 3, but then it depends on how it's how much you weight a significant strike, because a lot of what Cutelaba's numbers were the little knees to the thigh that he was putting in as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bukauskas was popping his head back more. I think the ultimate thing that comes out of that fight is if Cutelaba's got his hand raised, I wouldn't have said anything. And when Bukauskas got his hand raised, I didn't say anything. It was more that 30-27. I was like, what? That was the part where I was like, this doesn't make sense.
The problem with Cutelaba is he's not an intelligent fighter. The way he fights makes himself look dumb, and when he gets it, he looks like he's taking probably more damage than he actually is. And yeah, I don't know. His fight IQ is just absolutely fucking ridiculous. The fact that he stayed in the fight was probably as good as it gets for him. And yeah, he should have got finished. It should have been an easy night for Bukauskas, but it wasn't. I don't know why he made it so difficult.
I feel like Cutelaba's been improving a little bit lately. He's a little bit more patient. He doesn't just go rushing in like a mongoloid. I think that's helped him in his last few.
Like, he's still a mongoloid. Like, his fight IQ is it's like he's playing like Mortal Kombat and he's just spamming the buttons,
smashing the buttons.
Just he's a fucking spammer, isn't he?
It does feel like that. It does feel like that.
So, like, he was throwing shots that were like all that spinny shit that was just not landing, and it just makes him look shit. It makes him look worse than he is.
Yeah, the spinning shit does look dumb. Bodak, how did you see that fight, if you remember it?
I don't know. I'll be honest. Yeah, still not really the best at analysing the fights. I'm just glad I got the pick correct, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you've just been mogging it lately. I mean, it's kind of getting embarrassing.
My problem was I was watching along, but I was also playing with my OBS, so I actually missed quite a lot of the details. I didn't actually start
do that with these cards. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when we got to the main card, I stopped, sat back and watched that. But yeah. But yeah, the AI predicted like a weird close fight. It couldn't really decide between the two.
Which turned out to be exactly correct.
Yeah.
I think he could have called it either way, which is, yeah, I wouldn't have been upset either way. I think it's like I said, we said this multiple times on this channel, but I think people throw the word robbery around a little bit too liberally these days. I think a fight can just be close and hard to judge, and I think we've seen it happen in chats a lot of the time where a lot of us are saying this guy won, and everyone else is saying that guy won, and then we'll turn around and be like, the judges are fucking stupid. It's like it's tricky, man.
I was very angry with the reffing last night for multiple reasons, and one was inconsistency across the card. You've got some refs splitting it up, like in the QT fight. Every time they were clinching, it felt like he was straight on it. Then we had in the Santos and Quang Lee fight?
Yeah,
I think in the third round, was it Santos got the takedown? He went straight to side control and sat in side control for like 2 minutes was it? And he didn't move. There was no shots. He was holding on holding on to position, and fucking Quang was holding on to position. There was no split, which I found quite interesting. They literally sat in side control.
It's kind of the only thing I couldn't explain with that is like one of them was obviously up against the cage where nothing was happening, but side control is quite it's a difficult position to get to. Do you know what I mean?
Later in the night, I can't remember which it was. One, I'm pretty sure it could have been.
It was Valentina.
Valentina, where she got warned, where he came over and he warned and he went, "Come on, some action, keep moving." I found that quite interesting because I felt like they were landing shots and they looked like they were doing something, whereas Santos was not doing it. I remember it very significantly. He did nothing. He didn't move. He didn't try to pass. He didn't try to gain a mount or go for a submission. He wasn't setting up anything. He wasn't. He just literally held on to him, and Lee held he held the inside. He was trying to get. He had frames, inside frames, but he wasn't using it to frame off. So they were like in this like weird stalemate where no one wanted to pass, no one wanted to move. And I found it interesting that the ref didn't give at least a warning. Come on, some action. I want to see you move. I want to see something. But
yeah, it was very inconsistent, and that's the issue.
And then
I agree.
And then we have in the QT fight the clinches. They were. I felt like it was boring to watch, but they were throwing knees.
The separations were good.
Gilly, can you turn your audio down, man? You come through so loud. I don't know what
I've got it. I'm sorry
to hear you. Is that better? I'm sorry. Like, what are they, hearing aids?
Yeah.
All right, is that better though? Because like,
yeah.
I promise when I get back to LA, I'll switch to my new phone. I have all the.
I think it's a restream thing as well because I think it automatically pumps everyone up to maximum and then.
No, it's my fault.
Kind of get drowning out.
Like, for sure. But anyway,
all right, fuck it. I was trying to be nice, but all right, we got right.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Accountability. Anyway, I agree with brutally. I agree with brutally. In part, I mean, I think it was more with you, Frankie, saying it was inconsistent because I wouldn't say that I was all around disappointed with the reffing. I thought the separations, in the Bukowski's Kudalaba fight were on point. I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm annoyed because it is not consistent across.
Because it was good in some fights. It was good in some fights.
I mean,
it's like when we got that stoppage happen.
If you're talking about
stoppage in the was it the which fight was it where I think it was it might have been I think it was Navajo Sterling and Aslan, or there was another fight maybe where it could have been stopped but they kept it going.
Yeah, well, Sterling, dude, I mean, but I had a lot of respect for them not stopping fights. They didn't stop Zahavi, Aldo. They didn't stop. I mean, that would have been a ridiculous early stoppage, but like there's mad refs that would have stopped that fight. Like Aldo taking elbows. That there's refs that absolutely would have stopped this. The Sterling fight. Even though I had the hobby and I had Sterling and the judge. I feel like the judges working off the refs not stopping the fights did the right thing. And I mean, at least in those two fights. I actually, I thought the judging was really wasn't bad, for once, Like, I mean,
they didn't have much of a chance to fuck it up in most of the fights, to be fair.
I mean, they could have gone the other way, and Aldo's a hobby. They could have, you know, I mean, I feel like,
I think the Aldo Zahabi one was pretty. I think the Aldo Zahabi one was pretty conclusive.
Well,
the more that I think about it.
I mean, that second, yeah, but do you remember, dude, I was on a panel with you, and like, you know, people were arguing about the second round. People were crying robbery, you know.
Do you know what? I haven't seen anyone crying robbery today. Not like I've been watching the stream.
Not today, but
like, who's saying robbery?
In the moment, Bodak, people were. There were a lot of people.
I think most. I think most.
Jigsaw was because it was his one. It was the one fight he got wrong.
Yeah, I think most people came to the conclusion that he'd fumbled it when you.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I don't know if he fumbled it. I think I don't know. That second round was one of the tightest rounds I think I've seen this year.
Tight, yeah.
It was a very tight round. That
I think the way that like, you know, the third round went. I mean, you know, people, it's hard, you know, there's so many problems with the 10-8 scoring system, but it's like really, it's like, what would you do differently, right? And it's like, you know, there's really no perfect scoring system. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, see, Lane's saying Aldo was the only robbery, but I don't think it was a robbery. The second round was very close.
I don't know, because when I watched the end, that the sequence when Aldo was rocking him about, I watched it several times. I know he got cut open, and I know he ended the fight badly, but how he was getting bounced around the cage was fucking brutal.
Bro,
the damage
it would not.
I think the fact that the second round was so close, and then Zahabi ended the fight beating the absolute fuck out of him. I think
to a point where there are refs that would have stopped that fight at the end of the third. Like,
yeah, but then you could argue the same point for Aldo. Aldo was bouncing him around the cage. Right. He got head kicked. No, I've not seen anyone eat an head kick like he ate that fucking head kick.
That first round could have been a 10-8 to Aldo, I think.
No, Bodak.
Yes. I mean, you got the soccer kick, you laid him out.
No,
absolutely.
Oh, you mean, no. The thing is with 10-8s is if an opponent shows some level of offense back, which Zahabi did. It's not like to get a 10-8, you've basically got to get washed, and you have to be in a finish.
It's a domination
finishing sequence.
Yeah, you have to. So Bodak,
I thought he was dominant in the first round myself.
But, yeah, Zahabi was
there's nothing coming back.
But like a 10-8 round is like Thomas Peterson versus Dontel Mays, where Mays literally was unable to do anything, and he was being thrown and thrashed around with zero ability.
Like, but damage has to be done as well. A little bit like damage has to be done.
A lot of damage and zero resistance.
And zero resistance. Yeah, that's how I know it's kind of confusing.
Fair enough.
I get why it's confusing though, because if you see somebody
because it's not like boxing. Like boxing, typically you get knocked down, it's scored as a 10-8 round. It's not. MMA scoring's a bit different than that. I think it could be altered, maybe. Like it could be.
It could be. It's just it's hard to think of a better way to score. You know, I mean, it's very frustrating when one fighter has.
I think for knockdowns, clear knockdowns, I think it should be a 10-8.
It should be a 10-8.
When it's a clear fight-ending sequence.
What if you
if you get a knockdown on both sides? That's when it gets
Like what if you have?
Am I right in saying in boxing, when you're negotiating the fight and stuff, you also get a choice on the judges? Like, isn't that part of the negotiation?
It depends on the country. It depends on the,
No, I think it is. I think the reason why boxing fights are so hard to make is because promoters negotiate down to the very littlest details, and sometimes it's just to fuck with the opponent. So it can be things like ring size, it can be like the ref, it can be the judges, it can be.
Do you think it'd be too hard to bring that into the UFC? Like actually having the fight negotiate over the judges?
Because they're all under the same umbrella. It's a bit different.
They're under. It's the gaming in the United States. It's under the Gaming Commission. Like I've said, it's and it's actually better in a number of other countries. Like the best example is in Australia, where they were able to fire the judge that gave Tuivasa 3 rounds against Rosenstrike. Like in the United States, there's bureaucratic bullshit that, you know, makes
Whereas
it
boxing is
tough.
a mad one because you've got different organizations. Like you've got the WBC, the
Yeah,
WBO, you've got the IBF, and then you've also got 2 promoters are representing 2 different fighters. Whereas the UFC represents everyone. And the commission's 1 commission.
Well,
so
also though, like, you know, you get the commission, like they preside over, like, you know, PFL and other American promotions as well. And so
it's
like,
not just UFC in terms of the
the and they circulate refs as well. You'll see Herb Dean reffing a fucking 1 fight championship.
Yeah, but until they go to Saudi Arabia and Dubai,
well,
and
but also Australia,
they have when they have their own sanctioned, like basically they sanctioned by the UFC, which is the most corrupt fucking shit that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is very corrupt. It is very corrupt.
Fucking, like that shouldn't happen. That shit shouldn't happen.
You want to know? You want to like little examples of that come out. I don't know if anyone remembers. Cali Fernandez got a 1st round knockout over some fighter from the UAE on a UFC card not that long ago, and everyone else who got a finish on that card got a performance bonus, but him, just because he knocked out like their guy. Like you see little. You see little like you know, traces of corruption when they have like the Middle Eastern cards, like no matter what. But yeah, like I mean, last night, I mean, I really did not have a problem with the judge. Definitely not with the judges. I mean, I think like because I think that like you know, the co-main, like, you know, Fierro did a lot of hugging, and you know, you know, I think the judges like judged that fight accurately. You know, then that would really be the only one in question. I mean,
no, I think the Kutalaba fight was definitely in question. I think people were split about that one, and I think some people initially were split about the Aldo fight until they went back and really looked.
A lot of people, dude. Frank, you remember what chat looked like, right? Like people, you know, there were enough people saying it was a robbery.
It was very split. I mean, this is what makes the sport, and this is what I'm saying about judging. I mean, we shit on judging all the time, but
good judges
scoring criteria is down to interpretation. It's very
it really is.
The problem is the scoring criteria more than anything else, because it's very much down to how people are what they're seeing and what they're feeling on the night. They've got very little time.
Yeah, and there's a problem with both damage-based scoring and scoring control time, because like damage-based scoring, it's like the optics on damage, right? If somebody's bleeding, you know, from a cut, right, but the other guy's been hit to the body, subjectively, the fighter that's, you know, taking shots to the body, you know, if they're well placed, is going to be in a lot more pain, you know, and then thereby a lot more damage has been done, you know. But like
the thing is, it's hard because only the fighters really know how badly they've been damaged, and we can only look at how they're reacting to that damage. So it's difficult.
And some fighters just open up easier, don't they? When they've got scar tissue.
100%, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's that, and there's the fact too that you know, with control time, like there's gay control time, as in like, you know, just like, you know, Mario Batista style, you know, just hold someone against the cage, you know, and stall out. And then there's legitimate control time where you have somebody on the ground and they're all they can do is try to stop you from submitting them. They can't mount any offense. Like,
yeah.
And yeah, Klaus is absolutely right. I mean, you know, although that's the thing about the 10-8 scoring system is like you could, like Leon Edwards fought Kobe Covington, his first title defense and only, you know, successful one. And basically, you know, he ended that fight like with Covington on top of him, you know, but you know, it's like 10-8 scoring system, like, you know, it's round by round. And like, you know, that pisses a lot of people off. I mean, I get pissed off about that too. You know, one fighter can have a super dominant round and the other one can barely eke out the other two. You know, and so
they know that going in. So
no, they do. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's why Protest Gary pissed me off so much, because when Protest almost finished him in the 5th round, it was like,
yeah, but I mean, yeah, that is what it is. So obviously JDM put on a really good performance yesterday, and we're kind of
Italian supremacy, brutally, and Bodak, soccer, MMA. How do you feel?
Oh, shut up. I just want. I want to bring up something before we move on to the main event.
We got no. We talked about this.
Wrong profile picture. That's the wrong facial hair, Gilly.
No, it's not. I'm good, dude. I haven't shaved.
You better not fucking shave.
Bodak, I know you're salty about Liverpool.
To answer your question, Giuliano,
the same shit. What was I just saying earlier? We're just straight back. I don't care about the Liverpool result. I've moved on. I care about your team.
You've moved on. You've moved on to your next.
We're league champions, mate. I'm over the fucking moon. We've had a great season.
I know.
We didn't even buy any new players.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, but of course they were going to be
help me out as well.
Dude, I like Liverpool in Premier League. That's my team in Premier League. I mean, of course you're going to be league champions. But like, you know, when it comes to a wider
team, full stop. I question how you support things because you like just have these teams.
Well, okay, so
I'm an actual supporter
hold on,
of
wait a
Liverpool.
second. What about you? When I asked you about your team in Serie A, you said it's Lazio. Huh?
I said Lazio are my favorite team because Paul Gascoigne used to play for them. I don't like support them. I support Liverpool.
Okay. Well, I mean, what do you consider your favorite team? Who you support? I mean, you know, are you donating money? Like, is that the distinction between support and your favorite
I buy some tops now and again. I go and watch some match.
Okay, fair.
You tend to watch more of that. You'll watch their games and then you'll watch their rivals' games to see how they're doing against that kind of thing.
Right.
Man United are hovering down the relegation zone. It's beautiful to see. As a Liverpool fan, that's really funny.
Enjoy that.
Okay, so Bodak, so I'll say that I'll say in Serie A, I support Lazio. I hope to God that Palermo wins the fucking tournament to get that last spot bumped up. You know, so there's a Sicilian team in Serie A, but yeah, Lazio is who I support. My favorite team in Premier League is Liverpool.
Good choice, as long as it's not Arsenal.
Dude, fuck
yeah, we all hate Arsenal.
Dude, I mean,
insufferable.
I mean, dude, I mean, you know, like
they at least used to play some good football, some silky football. They just play like Stoke City now. We know that.
Yeah, they're awful to watch. And Arsenal fans are the fucking worst.
That's a low blow. That
is. They play for fucking set pieces. They play like Stoke City. People are going to be going, oh, but can you survive on a rainy night at Arsenal? That's going to become the new meme.
It won't because they're not tough enough. They're all a bunch of fans.
How the fuck they finish second is beyond me, or finishing second.
I mean, they often do finish
Newcastle
like
might catch them.
Third. Bodak, you actually illuminated something for me, which is that yes, Arsenal season after season had been in first place for a good part of the season, and then they just seem to fuck themselves towards the end.
It's because they're bottlers.
Yeah, they're bottlers. They're professional bottlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. How long have they
Liverpool,
had this
Man
coach?
City, in that they tend to start a bit slow and finish strong.
Dude, was it 2022 that Man City swept everything? Premier League, UEFA,
No, they've never won they've won a treble, but they've never won. No one's ever won a quadruple, which is everything.
But the triple by Man City, that was 3 years ago.
Yes, it was the FA Cup, Champions League, and the league, which is only been done one other time by Man United, I think.
Yeah, and what did they not win? EFL?
They didn't win the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, that's EFL.
Cup.
Yeah. Man City. I don't know. Dude,
plastic club, mate. They're a plastic club. They're owned by a country. They don't actually have the fan base to financially support what they've got.
Bodak, did you watch that game between Southampton and Man City on the weekend? I know we're sidetracking.
No, I watched the Liverpool game.
They're horrible to watch, mate. They are awful.
Have they got Rodri back yet? You know?
Not yet. I think he's in training. Yeah.
Frankie, you know Chelsea still has a shot to end.
As soon as Rodri comes back, they'll be fucking pain in the ass to beat again.
I know they did, but they do still have a shot.
So anyway, we obviously, I was just because a couple of people have been asking about this. It looks like we're going to get Islam and JDM now. How do you guys see that fight going? If it does happen,
is that Islam? Yes. Unfortunately, Islam, but I have my doubts that Islam's not going to fight Taveria. Unless
that's not going to happen. 100%.
I mean, I woke up late unless there's news. Why? So
I don't think JDM can beat Islam.
No, Islam beats either of them. But my question is, if you're Islam, right, and you have you broke the record for lightweight most title defenses, but there's asterisks because of the second Volkanovski fight and Moicano.
Did you see what Islam said after Bilal lost?
Yes, I did.
He sent out a tweet saying, "Inshallah."
I saw that, but you remember John Jones saying he wanted to fight Pereira? Do you remember? I mean, the only person that actually followed through on
not Islam. John Jones is not Islam. Islam's going to be looking at JDM and thinking this is the perfect fight for me, for me to make my welterweight debut. He's thinking,
I mean, sure,
I fancy my
but it's like, why not take out to I'm sorry, go ahead.
The reason why he doesn't take out Topuria because he doesn't need to. I think a win over JDM is way more impressive over beating Topuria.
Right.
And he can always go back down and have
Giuliano, I'm surprised you can't.
He could do both.
Yeah, Giuliano, I'm surprised you can't see this because like we spoke about this yesterday. It's like
I feel I get what you're saying.
Islam's fight with Ilya is lose in a lot of ways. Whereas if he goes up and fights,
I disagree that it's lose, dude. Everybody's on.
You might.
The
thing is, you might disagree. You might disagree, but I think a lot of people would agree with the fact that they're going to see it as if he wins, he's beat up another featherweight, and if he loses, he's lost to a featherweight.
So the difference.
It'll be another thing where
the difference is.
Whereas if he goes up and beats JDM,
no. Before you answer. Why would he grant another featherweight an opportunity at his title when he hasn't had a second title shot yet? That is the answer.
Okay,
is stepping up. Why would he get? He's already done Volk.
Topuria, unlike Volkanovski, vacated the belt and is now, for all intents and purposes,
it doesn't matter though.
But that's not the point, though.
In Islam's the other answer, why would I give another guy, another featherweight, another chance at it? I've already done it. Why?
Because Topuria is posting.
Okay, Giuliano, who is Makhachev being compared to? Who is Makhachev being compared to in like this GOAT conversation, or potentially who does he?
Obviously
Habib. And what did Habib?
He's got a loss on his record. I think that can make up for he can make up for not being undefeated by being a double champ. That's
100%, and I think that's what he's gunning for. I think that's what he's thinking.
Well, we all know that's what he's thinking because he's been saying it for the last 2 years.
He's been we're not reading between the lines, are we? Brutally, he's been saying it.
No, he's been saying it publicly that he wants to go up. The only reason he didn't go up is because Bilal was in a title contention, and that's why he stopped it.
And I think he would have fought him. I think he would have fought him anyway. I think it was Bilal just sucking his ball bag that. So no, we're brothers, man. We've been in the gym. I don't think Makhachev ever cared.
You know what? I don't know. Well, these Muslim brotherhoods, they're weird, aren't they?
I don't know. Them Dagestanis are pretty loyal to each other, man. I don't think they were gonna.
Yeah, no, but Bilal's not a Dagestani. He went and trained with him for a couple of weeks.
He's sort of aligned with it, though, isn't he?
No, I mean,
he's like adopted. He's an adopted Dagestani, isn't he?
Hold on. Only by way of training with them, which, like, honestly, like Daniel Cormier, like, trains with Islam and Habib as well. Like,
yeah, but they all loyal. Like, they super loyal people, aren't they?
Right. But like,
if they take you in,
yeah.
If they take you in, you're part of their little brotherhood. Like it's not. We're not talking about
that's the culture.
He did
the culture.
On the same
session, he was training.
What binds Bilal to them is the Muslim religion, I guess. But in point of fact, Bilal's an American born in Chicago of Palestinian descent who kind of, I think, married himself to the Dagestani culture.
Either way, however it's come about, the fact is it has come about through multiple things, training with him, the Muslim Brotherhood, all that shit. It's kind of all combined.
What about people? I mean, because people talk about Brazilian glazing too, right? Like, is Ian Gary really associated with, like, is he now like one of the Brazilians? Like, do you have any?
They would all fight him in a heartbeat. They would all fight him.
Charles Oliveira would submit Ian Gary.
They would probably relish it.
Dude, you would hit Layla from the back and then submit fucking Gary in 2 seconds. It's like, and Ian Gary's such a foolish individual. But yeah,
I just want to quickly ask your opinions on the illegal knee in round 2 of the Shevchenko fight at the end of the round.
Oh, you mean the one when she was down?
Yeah.
Was that Fioro landing on Shevchenko?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you agree that it was an illegal knee? And do you think Goddard saw it? The reason why I ask about do you think he saw it is because of the warning that he gave between rounds.
I think Fioro was lucky in that it when they showed it on replay, because I did have I forgot a lot about last night, but I remember this moment. I think she didn't really connect, and I think that's the weird part of the rule.
What
I think she sort of skimmed her.
So she blocked it with her hand, so it fully landed. From what I saw, but she blocked it. Now that's the question that I wanted to ask. It's still an illegal knee because she's thrown an illegal knee to
you're right.
A grounded opponent.
I think brutally is right.
The second thing,
hang on a second, Juliana. Hang on.
Even though she blocked it, the impact she still would have felt because a fucking head went back. So I'm wondering, did Goddard see it, or was he told between rounds? Because he went over to Fiorot and said, "Watch your knees." And he gave her a stern warning, but he didn't do anything in the moment. And I was quite
taken back.
So I think that also Shevchenko held on to the cage for an extended period of time. I think the judge, the ref rather, in that fight was just letting whatever happen happen. To be honest, because Shevchenko, if you remember, Shevchenko was holding on to the cage for it wasn't a cage grab. It was like she was genuinely holding. I mean, there was a lot in that fight. That
let's try and take one incident at a time. So, what do you think about what do you think should have happened with the knee?
I mean, well, so
personally, it all depends on whether he saw it in the moment, which I'm assuming that he did because of the warning between rounds. He went over and warned Fiorot, which then alludes to the fact that he saw it in the moment, and I think he should have timed out. Regardless of whether it fully connected or not, the fact is it did connect, and I think it should be a timeout. I think there should be, because what message are these fouls always giving to fighters? Oh, you can do it and you're going to get away with it. You can grab the fence and you'll get a warning. You can do an eye poke. Oh, for sure.
That's going to take like an institutional rule change. Go ahead.
Like eye pokes are a massive thing where we're getting eye pokes, and then the blinding fighters are fighting compromise because they've got too much ego.
Look how compromised Bruno Silva was from the.
You can solve the eye poke thing with better gloves, though, can't you? Like other promotions have way better gloves.
No. It depends. I mean, it can still have. I mean, it depends on how people fight.
Yeah, but the other promotions use a different type of glove that really reduces the amount of eye pokes.
I guarantee you. Yeah. If as soon as somebody eye pokes somebody, it results in an instant point dock, accidental or not.
Yeah,
same with cage grabbing.
Yes, I agree
if they dock immediately, then it will guarantee it will stop.
Frankie, sometimes it's accidental.
100%. 100%.
The difference is you're mixing striking with grappling. Grappling needs open hands. So, like...
But yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like, I'm not saying a lot of the times they are doing it on like accidentally, but the thing is, it affects. It's like when you get kicked in the balls, whether it was accidental or not, it affects the fight. In the same way, where if you poke somebody in the eye, it affects the fight. So
I mean,
if you're getting docked immediately, then you're gonna fucking be more careful.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I would
they don't have a reason to be more careful. Automatic. They don't have a reason to be more careful because they're getting away with it the first time. They can go, oh, well, we'll just stick our hands out. And then, if I do it the first time, I'm definitely not going to get docked. Whereas if you know you're definitely going to lose a point, they'll adjust the strategy is what I'm saying.
That's probably true. I would like to see automatic point deductions for cage grabbing more than anything. Like just automatic. Because you can alter the trajectory of a fight.
I think all of it. Well, we saw in the Igor Savarino fight. We've seen it in many fights where fighters are constantly grabbing the cage. It stops takedowns. Eye pokes like blind the other fighter.
Dude, Weidman versus Bruno Silva is the biggest example. Where
brutally. How about this for like so they could have like a yellow card, red card system where like if you grab the cage, it's an automatic. You lose a point, red card. If you poke someone in the eye accidentally, you get a yellow card. And if you do it again, accidentally or not, it's an automatic point dock. But we've seen fights here where someone's poked somebody in the eye accidentally twice or even 3 times and not get a point dock. And then we've seen times where someone's done it once and get a point dock. And again, it comes down to that. There's no strict rule in place where it's like, this is what happens if you do it. Bam. And that's the problem comes down to,
because
again,
you know why that's happening. They're giving referees too much autonomy to decide whether they think it was accidental or on purpose. Now, how do you determine what's accidental and what's on purpose? Because
that's the ref's job.
Yeah, but how can you determine whether it's on purpose or accidental? Because all you've got to do is open your fucking hand. All you've got to do is pretend that you're reaching for distance and open your hand slightly, poke someone in the eye. It's easy to do and make it look accidental.
I think it's a little bit more complicated, bro. And they do. I mean, it's like VAR in soccer, though. I mean, they have replays. They have, there's a lot to work off of. But ultimately, yes, it is. It does come down to the ref. And I mean,
in my eyes, it's black and white. A foul is a fucking foul. If you did something on a football pitch, it's a foul. It doesn't change. The rules don't change. A foul is a fucking foul. If you go through a man, it's a fucking foul, and them rules stay consistent, or at least as consistent as possible.
But so,
for
example,
what they can see.
Right. To use that analogy, though, it's like what's offside and what's not. Without VAR, dude, it used to be so much more difficult. Like, you used to have fans rushing the field, like if they thought an offside call was bullshit. Like, now it's undisputable. You know what I mean? Like, there's really, I mean, the closest you can come to that is like, is replays. But, I mean, you have groin strikes too that like are arguable. I mean, but yeah, Bodak's like fucking on some Rick and Morty shit right now.
So I'm just testing my setup. I've been playing with it all weekend. I'm listening. I did tell Frankie I was doing this.
Yeah.
No, you're good. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you brutally. I just think that like, I mean, there's certain things that are easy to tell. Like, I forget. There's a WMMA fight in UFC where this woman got DQ loss for headbutting. Like, she had this bitch like on the ground, and she kept lifting her up and headbutting her. I think it was
okay.
Like,
here's an example.
Yeah.
This fight card, where I mean, it didn't change the Fiorot fight because Shevchenko won. But what about Aldo? He got kicked in the balls twice.
Yeah, but was that
if we're going by the rule, warning, and then second time it's a point deduction.
Should be a point deduction.
The
second one was a bit.
The fight's changing.
But this is where we need.
The second one deserved a warning for sure. The first one, if I'm remembering correctly, the first one was like they showed the replay. I call that accidental.
I think it was the second one that kind of hit the side of the groin as a right on the sack.
Yeah, the second one. I say
accidental or not, like.
I agree.
Accidental or not, like it's.
Brutally, this though. It's like when you're throwing kicks against an opponent. It's like it's that's a much more.
What's the phrase, Giuliano? Be responsible with your weapons. They say that at the beginning of every fight.
Yeah,
it's like in boxing.
I mean, that's easy to say. When you got Jose Aldo throwing. And like, and you're on the back foot and you're throwing a kick, trying to land to the body. He's moving. Like, that first kick, I mean, that's an accidental groin strike. Like, the second one, not so much.
Yeah,
and that deserved a warning.
But why are we allowing referees autonomy? Why are we not imposing rules? And it's just, okay, the first time it's a warning, the second time.
I agree. I agree.
I agree with
it shouldn't really be happening more than once anyway.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think that's what it comes down to. I think it's like it should be very strict. This is what happens. It should, because accidentally or not, you're affecting the outcome of the fight by kicking someone in the sack multiple times. And the fact that they know they're going to get away with it at least once is a problem. And it comes down, and what Brutally said is it comes down to the ref's jurisdiction as opposed to how much the fight has been affected or not, which is the wrong way of going about it.
I think though, I mean, okay, so I agree like 90% with what you're saying. I think automatic point deductions for definitely, I mean, cage grabbing is the biggest thing for me. Eye pokes, yes, because it's easier to tell, you know, intentional and unintentional, and like, you know, it's also easier just to not do that. I think, you know, certain groin strikes.
Yeah, it's not though, is it? It's not, because look at John Jones, how much he gets away with it. So many fighters get away with that shit, eye pokes. And fighters have come out and even said, like, they even come out and say stuff like, well, the first one, I know I'm getting away with it, and so I'm going to do it.
Dude, Weidman.
Fighters have actually come out and said that
Chris
shit.
Weidman is the most, like, you know, that's the most, like, gruesome example,
Yes, Weidman's a perfect example. Like, oh,
that he said the eye poker should be pepper sprayed. That's funny. I mean, you know, in a just world, yeah, but like, I mean, somebody who's literally trying to gouge out somebody's eyeballs the way Weidman did. And I mean, look how fucked up. I think he was hospitalized for his eyes, and then, you know, and now he's fucking, like, now his cervical spine is probably
dead inside.
Dead inside, and maybe in reality too.
No, it was confirmed that he was still alive in the middle of the card, so we didn't have that to worry about.
No, yeah. But, like, I mean, you know, that compromised the rest of his career, undoubtedly, what Weidman did to him with the eye pokes. I mean,
what did you think of the Grasso Silva fight when you were watching it live? Was it as infuriating? Because I watched it, like, I didn't watch it live. I watched it, like, later. So I was watching it not live, and I was very infuriated.
Yeah, Bodak was mad.
I was raging.
Bodak was raging.
Yeah, so Bodak's AI could not defeat my Natalia, and I thought Natalia did a great job.
Natalia.
Grasso did fuck all that dumb bitch.
And yeah, there's a disagreement.
You thought it was an amazing job running around the cage. You thought that was an amazing job.
So I thought she kept her. So keeping Grasso
to cut the space.
Keeping the fight. Hold on. So Silva keeping Grasso away from her so that she couldn't get in boxing range. Okay, was, you know, well, also striking effectively, very effectively. You know, I mean, I don't think she ran away from her. I think she circled one way, circled the other way, struck, had a good hit and run type strike.
No. I agree to some extent, but there's times when she was circling one way, circling the other, not striking, circling the other way, circling back, circling the other way, circling back. And there was a good minute, I think, in one round where she was just fucking running around the cage. And again, I've seen it in fights when that's happening. Refs have been telling them, you know, engage. You're not here to run away. Like when Clay Guida did it.
Clay Guida definitely did it. But I heard people arguing the same for Volkanovski in the last two rounds, especially the last round against Diego Lopez. I mean, I thought
the Silva performance was quite impressive.
Yeah,
it wasn't the most amazing thing to watch, but I thought from a technical standpoint, she did an amazing job of, like, she was touching her up a lot. I mean, you saw that kick to the face brutally. That was some nasty shit.
Yeah,
striking was really, really on point, but
yeah,
I don't know. Again, it's this engagement and the rules of engagement. There was times in that fight that I found very frustrating, especially I'm already raging from the previous fights where it's been happening and all this inconsistent reffing, and I'm thinking, why is it not being held to the same standards as others? I know she was landing at times, but there was I can't remember which round. There was a round where she was running around.
Why you probably were upset, because the minute that you're talking about was in the third round with her up 2 rounds. So, like, you could argue that, she's trying to stall the shit out. But yeah, Bodak called Grasso a dumb bitch when she lost. It was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, that was a seminal moment.
She fucking let me down. She didn't do anything. If the other fighter's going to prance around a cage, constantly keeping distance and going side to side, you got to shut them down. You got to close them off.
See, that's more what I have content. I get what Brutally's saying, but it was down to
but she this is the thing. She was, and she was to a point without being reckless. When she was coming forward, she was cutting the cage off. But because it's a cage, she can easily just fucking like keep prancing around the as much as she wants. It's not like a boxing ring. It's not like a boxing ring where you can cut corners and get someone in a corner. When you're in a cage, cutting the fighter off is way more difficult, and that is the ref's job from the rule book, where they should be making fighters engage.
I mean, I don't, dude. It wasn't Carla Esparza versus Rose, bro. Come on. I mean, Silva put it on her pretty well.
I'm not saying it was the most shocking I've seen, but I was watching this all night, like all today, and I was just thinking to myself, why is it so different in each fight? What the refs are doing.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? Like in the Zahabi Aldo fight, Zahabi was just in Aldo's face, trading in the pocket, like losing the fucking first round, you know, by doing the opposite of what you're talking about. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, different.
I mean, that isn't the fight I'm talking about.
I know. Like what I'm saying is, like, he did the opposite of what you're.
The Kutalaba fight.
Point.
Even Shevchenko got what? I think it was Shevchenko or Fiorot. One of them got warned for being inactive when they were on the ground for no action. The ref came over and gave them a warning.
Yeah, that did happen. Dude, that was the only thing that
doesn't that bring you back to your earlier point, the inconsistency in the refs? Like some of the refs
there was inconsistency for sure. I mean, but like, you know, I mean, there were different refs. I mean, I like the separations. I mean, I kind of like, I really didn't mind that. I mean, Shevchenko grabbing the cage, the illegal knees from Fiorot. That ref just like, you just let shit happen.
Well, Goddard had a shit. Goddard had a shit night last night. He had a shit night of reffing.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Goddard's. Dude, it's like
Goddard has main character syndrome.
Dude, yeah, I mean that's an interesting point. Like, I think I don't know, man. It's like you could find videos on YouTube of like Herb Dean's worst early stoppages, and then another video on his worst late stoppages. You know, it's like, you know, it's hard to win, you know, as a ref, like, you know, because it's like it's a very difficult job, bro. I mean, and so I do agree with you. Certain things should be in place, like automatic point deductions. Yeah.
What did you think of the Kazakh guy, the Kazakh fighter?
Oh, he was sensational.
Dude,
I mean, I told you but that was a sensational performance. That was a great.
It was a great performance. Now, earlier in the chat, I did see that Paradox claims that he single-handedly made me pick Brad Katona, which, though true,
I watched the video. And you were like, "Oh, I'm doing the
This is another accountability issue. This is a.
I take full accountability.
Immediately, fucking Paradox.
For Paradox for being psychologically vulnerable in a certain window of time.
No, the only person psychologically vulnerable is you. That you that easily
I just said that.
Influenced. No, you were easily influenced. I can't believe that.
Dude, you said you watched the video. I said I was picking. I said I was picking him.
I just can't believe how you folded. You folded like a little bitch, didn't you? You're like, okay, Paradox, I'll do what you say.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, he slowly wore me down over the course of like 4 minutes into picking, like, you know,
fucking hell.
That was, and then I woke up yesterday knowing Brad Katona was gonna lose, being like, fuck me. It's like, fuck me. And and then right away, right off the.
Oh, and you still didn't change. You still didn't change your pick.
It was the last fucking minute. Like, I was just like, fuck it now. But
it wasn't the last minute. You said
sometimes
you woke
it works out, yeah, and sometimes it doesn't. It's like with the JVD pick. I was picking Bilal like for weeks, and then literally the day before, I was like, do you know what? I'm picking JDM, and I just rolled with him.
Frankie,
Win some, you lose some.
But like, it was one of those times where I really wanted JDM to win, and I'm just like, fuck me, Bilal's gonna win though, like, and that's just and JDM won, and like, I'm very happy JDM won. Italian champion, fucking kind of a, and I don't even think that like, but it's because Bilal. It has way less to do with Bilal fighting stupidly than a lot of people are making it out to be. I think JDM showed out a lot more. Like his takedown defense is way better.
I said this, by the way. I said that JDM's a lot of people are like JDM's takedown defense is shit. It's not. His takedown defense is
it has been in the past is the thing.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. That's incorrect. Even with the Basil Hafez fight, he stuffed a lot of those takedowns. The problem is when he eventually does get, let me finish. When he eventually does get taken down, he's fucked. That's the problem. But he showed last night, if he can limit those opportunities, he's fucking a problem. And he showed that last night. I think Bilal he could.
He's got a 70% career takedown defense. That's really high.
Which is high.
Well, it is.
The average is 50.
In that fight, it didn't feel like Bilal attempted a takedown until quite late in the fight. If I'm not,
he did it.
No, he attempted one in the first round and got shucked off completely. He got like thrown off, and then you could see his face. He was like,
no, that wasn't the one that he got shucked off. He got him against the cage, and then JDM got him off him. And there was one that JDM just completely just thrashed him away. When Bilal was in top control, though, JDM was kind of fucked.
In trouble. You could see he couldn't move, and that was the whole point. He limited those opportunities.
He didn't know how to get close, how to move towards the cage, and and then get back to his feet. But he did. Like he burst. He just like rose out of like JDM looked fucking amazing. Honestly.
Did you see his face when he did the post fight though?
He was fucked up. But Bilal was fucked up worse, dude. He had a
have you seen his lip? His lips like
his lip. I was saying to Thal and Paradox, it's like that, dude. He's got like a hair lip cut.
Can I ask you quickly? Yeah. Can I ask you quickly? Yeah. How did you score that fight?
I wasn't really analyzing the fight that much.
It was. Well, you know how I did
JDM.
I mean, I had it for I had it JDM, but like I thought it was 2-2 going into the fifth. I mean, 2 out of 3 judges had it the same. What was it? The first round was really close, and I had the first round for Bilal like by a hair.
Really? I didn't. I think 1, 2, and 3. JDM, yeah, and then going into the. I think he'd already won it going into the fifth. I know it could have been close.
I had it 4-1. I had 1, 2, 3 JDM and 5.
I mean, it
was a close fight. It was a close fight.
I think the first round was so. JDM. First round was so close and kind of inconsequential that like it doesn't really matter. It's like 4-1, 3-2. Like I mean, JDM clearly won it. Like if
at best it was 3-2.
Yeah, if it was 2-2 competitive, dominant, 2 dominant and 2 dominant, and it all came down to the first round, it would be a different story. But like, I mean, regardless of the first round, JDM won. He won at least 3 clearly, if not 4.
Yeah. I thought it was 4-1, but I think you could make a case for 3-2. I don't think you can make any case for Bilal winning.
Yeah.
Oh no,
definitely no.
No, absolutely.
Has anyone heard off Vinny? Has Vinny spoke up?
He's on the Clown Show now.
I told Bodak.
He's on the Clown Show.
He's on the Clown Show now, yeah.
So I got a message that the Clown Show is live. and talking about whatever. So I open it up, and Betty and Bodak are in there, and Vinny's titty blood is being brought up. So No Chill and I are talking, and I'm like, I'm gonna get Vinny to go defend himself.
People are in the chat in the clown show saying, "Ask Vinny about Brutally Honest."
yeah. I told Vinny to go defend himself. I was like, get in there and defend yourself, bro. You got this.
But
he always
chats shit about you when he's in a chat or on a different stream you're not
no,
on. As soon as you're face to face, he crashes out.
He does that, dude. If you glaze Vinny, like show him like some fake like love or attention for a second, you're his best friend. If the last interaction you had with him was antagonistic or whatever, then he's talking shit. You'll find that out. You know that he came at you on like Instagram and all that shit, and now he's
After he rage quit on Brutal, he then went at my Discord to tell me my quiz was mid and that we're all dullards. And he started sending screenshots of some girl that was texting him like he needs to show the world he actually gets laid. Like, he's just such a fucking child, man.
Bro, well, so
and then he went off on like a 10-page novel, fucking saying how I'm a virgin and all this shit.
Bro, yeah. Meanwhile, you live with your girlfriend and Vinny, dude. So this is like some deep cut shit. I uninstalled Discord, and then reinstall it. I'm not on Discord.
I replied on Discord. I didn't see it.
No, I did because it was after the quiz, so I still had it on my phone, right? And I see that Vinny's I think it was in No Show's Discord, saying like he was dropping those screenshots with the girl, and I was like, Vinny, is it cool with you if I run this phone number just to verify that this is like a, he's like, yeah, go ahead. So I did, and it was it's a woman in her 40s with drug charges and a bunch of other shit. Like, I mean, it's the most sordid different flavors,
I guess.
I mean, I just don't understand why Vinny, when he looks the way he does, goes around constantly criticizing the physical appearance of other people. It's like the fucking needs to look in a mirror.
It's not, bro.
He's a fucking goon of a man. He's a weedy, lanky,
he's 30. He's 2 years younger than me, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, but fucking hell.
He
goes after Fight Fairy's appearance. He goes after Brutal's appearance. He insists that I must be some fat, ugly fuck. That's why I VTube. Like, what the fuck is it with this guy going around criticizing the appearance of others? Like, he looks like a fucking sausage.
He's like a child, bro. He panics when people are coming at him, and he just blurts out whatever dumb shit he can think of.
I don't think it's panic. I think it's worse than that. I think it's just.
Well, no, okay. So
I think he's a fucking spastic. Vinny. That's what it is.
Vinny's crying out. He's crying out for friends. But but at the same time, he wants everybody to think he's the fucking coolest guy alive and superior to everyone. It's like if I wanted to be president, but snort coke and fuck hookers in public, like you can't have it both ways. Like,
if I ever send you screenshots of my chats with my girlfriend, like, oh look at me, I get laid. Can you all call me a cunt, please?
Absolutely.
Just point it out.
I'll get right on that.
A fucking dickhead. It's fucking so sad, isn't it? Like having to go around to strangers online posting screenshots trying to convince them you're getting laid. Like, who cares, mate? Like,
well, what he's doing, it's not even
sad.
In that context. I mean, it's, you could say it's sad, but then that implies like sympathy should be had for him, and it's like everybody knows that Vinny.
No, it's not. He doesn't mean sad in that way. It's pathetic.
Yeah. When British people say basically saying it's pathetic. Yeah.
And it's also the fact that it's like the way that he does it is not so much, I don't think, to like prove something, but to flex something, which is worse. It's like, bro, you're fucking like a 48-year-old woman with drug charges, and it's not, and it's like you're not even fucking her. It's like you're inviting her to her place, and she said like she had a good time. It's like like great, good job, though. Like, with the receipts.
You and Vinny have a lot in common, though, don't you, Mr. McLaren owner? 245.
245. Wait, what do we have in common? Did Vinny own a McLaren?
You and Vinny both don't have neither of you have a McLaren. That's what you got in common.
The fact that you try and press, the fact that you both try and press people online, you know, like how you talk about your McLaren,
oh my God,
yeah, and you brag about it online. You tell
brutally,
everyone
I totally
how good
wear
it
my
is.
money, right?
Oh, I've got
I
all
wear
this
my money, right?
Yeah,
I wear my
I know
money.
JBD musical.
I got watches. I'm fucking balling out. Like never, dude. I never do that.
Well, yeah.
Except like, occasionally when someone presses me, you know, and then like, but I'm not, dude. I never flexed the fucking McLaren, dude. It's an investment. Jesus Christ!
What, you can whip out the Casio watch? Is that what you do?
No,
occasionally I try flex. I whip out the Casio watch.
Brutally. Listen, man. Just because you can't manage money for shit, and like your girlfriend has to like, you know, dispense money.
That is the real Vinny coming out now, is it, Gilly? Your Vinny's coming out.
Come on. No,
putting other people down just because you think you're better than everyone.
Just because it all runs through your fingers, and you're older than me, but you have a childlike, you know, ability to handle money, which is, you know. Yeah, I mean, you know, which I've tried to help you with.
Because I didn't talk about my finances online. I didn't talk about my McLaren.
Bro,
why do you assume I'm good for money?
I can't even remember how that McLaren thing came up.
I'll tell you.
This has been the base of my
I'll tell you how it came up.
I'll tell you.
He was on stream. He went to the shop. There was a guy with a classic car outside. He goes over to him. He goes, "Nice car, dude."
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
You did. And then you went, "I've got a McLaren. I've got a McLaren in the garage." That's what happened. You're on stream, and you're.
Oh yeah, the guy in real life that I was talking to, with the fucking with the Aston Martin. Yeah.
And Gilly goes on to tell him that he's got a McLaren.
I'll tell you what you fucked up, Gilly. Is when we asked you what the model was, and you were like quietly Googling because you didn't actually have an answer prepared, and you accidentally picked a car that was 1.7 million, and so you got it for 200K.
All right, let's stop this fiasco, okay? And
show us the deed.
Bodak, if I show you the deed because you're pressing me, okay, and you just go, oh, okay, it's real, right? That's happened enough times with enough shit.
It hasn't happened once, Gilly.
It's never
happened once.
Bodak, no. I'm not talking about between you and me, dude. I'm talking about in the span of like my like YouTube channel. I've provided like proof of things that I've been accused of lying of enough to where now I like either believe I don't like believe that I didn't, like everything I laid out about how, you know, that came about and how I was able to get it at that price and why I got it and everything like that. You can believe or not believe that, or whatever, or you can put something in the middle at stake. If you genuinely believe that I'm making that up, put something at stake that's where you genuinely suffer of take a hit, like in like you know, to some extent.
You offered me. Do you not remember me? You offered the bet. You said if I can prove you don't have a McLaren, you'll give it to me. You tried to make that.
Yeah,
bet.
I mean, that was the wildest.
Yeah, I was fucking around. But in all seriousness,
if you can prove I don't have it, I will give it to you. What?
No, yeah, obviously that was a joke. Wild. But like, if you Bodak, it like.
I didn't think it was a joke. I think you were just being a bit retarded in that moment.
Yeah, I was joking around retardedly, bro.
No, we saw the joke and we laughed at you, but I don't think you realized the joke until it was pointed out by
okay, hold on. So brutally and Bodak, okay. So you saw the joke, quote unquote, right, of me saying that Inter outlasts all three British teams in UEFA League, and now you're like brutally, you're still wearing the fucking, you know, the scars of losing that bet to me. Bodak, you know, you're like a few weeks off of it, still got PTSD. Like, I mean, do you really I know, like, do you understand that, like, I know what the truth is? Like, so I'm telling you, like, if I'm going to go through the trouble.
Oh my God. You're worse than Russell Brand. I'm like, yeah, it's like you're the messiah of fucking sports.
Dude,
like, I know what the truth is.
I'm worse than Russell Brand, bro. It's like, I can actually affect change, dude. All that
I am the messiah. I know the truth. Just follow me in.
Dude, what has Russell Brand ever done for anybody, really, though? Like, I mean, you know, like.
I'm sure Katy Perry had
in
a minute.
And that woman he raped. I mean, I'm allowed to say that.
Did he rape somebody?
Allegedly.
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 Is that a real thing? Russell Brand got accused of raping someone?
He's been, he's
in court.
Taken to court.
Oh shit! Really?
Sexual assault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
I think it's kind of well, yeah. I mean, it's hard. I don't know. I don't want to go there, but
you know what?
It wasn't
Gilly,
the most shocking accusation I've seen.
Any moment now, I'm expecting you to pull up a little like flute or something, and then start playing it and say, "Follow me, guys."
Betty.
Follow
me.
Yeah, the Pied Piper.
Dude, Betty
Pied Piper of gamblers. Follow me, fellow gamblers.
Well, yeah, guess what? All my locks hit last night. Anybody that listened to me fucking made money, bro. So, I mean,
what, didn't you pick Brad Katona? Didn't you pick Brad Katona?
No, I didn't lock. I mean, look, dude, I went 9 for 12. I didn't lock Brad Katona.
Oh, his eyes are fluttering now. You can tell he's rattled because his eyes start fluttering. He closes his eyes and starts fluttering them.
I'm not going to be the victim of an eye roll video by you, bro. You already gave me a cameo in that shit. But no, I had, dude. I mean, I locked Barrio, Bukowskis, fucking, you know, obviously Benoit Saint Denis, Jasmine, and who's the Navajo Sterling. And I was I was fucking nervous on 2 of those, like, you know, when it went to the scorecards, but you know, they all hit. And so yes, like, I mean, don't gamble, but if you're gambling already, if you haven't started gambling, don't start. Like, I mean, and if you're already gambling, fucking brutally, you act like I didn't give you a fucking soccer parlay that made you money. Like, I mean, geez, like behind the scenes, like, you know, what do you? I mean, so that alone is probably I've done more social good than Russell Brand. I would argue. Like, I would argue that, like, you know,
what about all the damage? What about all the damage that you've done, Giuliano?
Like since when? Like when? Like what year?
Getting people addicted to gambling with
I've
all
never
these gambling videos.
I've done exactly the opposite, bro. Exactly the opposite.
So there was a guy. There was a guy that videos.
There was a guy that it's not gambling videos,
make people
bro.
not addicted to gambling.
Yeah, dude. There's been people where, like, you know, this one guy was about to, he had, like, gambled away like all his money, and, like, you know, he was about to make, this was 307. He was about to make a straight bet with, like, the last of his money on Jose Aldo. I told him not to.
I gambled this weekend, Gilly.
I made 20 quid. So Giuliano, the only thing I would say
I gambled 3 quid and made 20 quid out of it.
The thing is, if you're making like pick videos, I get where that's a thing. The only thing that I would say is a bit, I get where you're coming from, but the only thing I would say that's a bit where I get where other people are coming from is when you use the word locks, that can be like very misleading for people who are
okay. So
I mean,
locks is shorthand. Okay, so it's because I don't want to break into
can you define what a lock is? No, can you define what a lock is for you, yes, so I don't make that mistake moving forward?
Yes, I will. Because yes, and that's a good question, because you have all over on my YouTube, you have these people doing lock of the week and all this bullshit. None of them are actually professional gamblers, like, and you know, and they're liars too. It's like they don't like the worst one recently that I saw is this guy Matty Betts posting fake receipts. All you need to do to make the receipts that he shows is get a fucking, you know, receipt printer. They're not that expensive, you know. And you know,
what is a lock?
A lock.
What is a lock?
So a lock is a fight. Like if we were talking about UFC, right? Like is a fight that is as close to certain as possible. Like, you know. By my determination.
Do you see how that could be irresponsible?
No, wait, hold on. Wait, Frankie, hold on. So,
okay, carry on.
Okay, so I've said this. If somebody can prove to me, okay, that they have used one of the only 2 gambling websites that I guarantee you are not fucking corrupt, which are Kiro.com and BetUS. Okay, they have followed the fucking gambling strategy that I present. Okay, like, which is a round robin parlay strategy that starts by removing the house edge as best as possible, and then subsequent parlays, et cetera, right? Somebody can prove to me that they have done that.
Terms?
Hold on. If somebody can prove to me that they have done that, okay, actually followed everything I've said, and that they've lost money, okay, I will reimburse them. I've said that. So that's never happened. Okay. Now,
okay, so I can follow you, right? So
now,
from now on, I can follow you.
With, take
your picks.
Yeah, but not
and
using
then I'll get reimbursed.
Sorry, guys, can I just ask you to clear something up? Can you clear something up? Is the terminology Gilly's using the same terminology in British gambling? Is there a difference? Because when he's saying parlays and stuff, I don't see that on my betting.
Round robin, there's another.
Yeah,
so
what is
round robin?
Parlays and ACCA.
An ACCA, okay.
Yeah, I know that in Australia, there's a different term for round robins. There may be in the UK too. Round robin is a specific type of parlay. You know, that essentially, you know, it so if you have, do I need to explain this? I need to do a round explanation.
I've done this. I don't think so. I just want to know if the terminology is different.
Not
because
no,
I don't see these words on my Bet365 account.
Bet365. What is? All right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, what Gilly doesn't understand is in the UK, everything that he talks about is a different terminology.
Have you?
So when we go to Bet365,
okay, that's really it's a parlay, a parlay. The parlay, a parlay.
A parlay is called an accumulator.
Yeah,
that's what we call it.
And I know what
everybody I've talked to.
You now make Gilly. Now that I know a parlay is an ACCA, you now make 10 times more sense to me.
Okay. Now Paradox, for example, understood what a parlay was. Other people from the UK understood what a parlay was.
Yeah, because
you can understand. You can understand both.
Not everyone does.
Okay, I get that not everyone does, but like my exposure to people from the UK when it comes to betting terminology was upon meeting Bodak, right? No one that I talked to from the United Kingdom had ever had a problem understanding what a parlay was terminology wise. So, I mean,
yeah, because we follow,
I gambled for the first time this weekend.
Which is not to say that, like, you know, I'm not even putting that on you. I'm just saying, like, that's if something's lost in the translation. I mean, I get that.
Cool. I gambled for the first time on my picks this weekend. I only put £3 in, and I got 20 quid out of it.
That's good. What did you? How did you? You put 3 quid on a parlay?
Not on individual fights. So yeah, I grouped 3 fights together and basically combined them all, but 3 at a time. Yes, but I put a whole bunch of them down, 25p each, and at the end of the night, that 3 quid turned into 25. 20 quid even. Sorry.
20 even. So you made £17 profit.
Yeah,
that's good on percentage. Yeah. That's quite good. You
great percentage.
You multiplied your money by almost 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do. I'm gonna just keep trying to do that same tactic for each card now.
The thing is, like, yeah, I mean, you know, now which fights did you said you had a 3? So okay, so Bodak, that would be a parlay. What you did, each fight that you had would be called a leg of that parlay. So what were the fights that you
Every combination. I've got I found this website that helps you build them. You put in each fight and it literally gives you every combination. So I think I put up maybe I think it was in total about 18 different bets.
Okay, so it gives you that's a round robin.
That's round robin. That's round robin.
So I'm actually doing it properly and I made a profit. So
exactly. Yes, thank you. Exactly. You did it. You used round robin parlay strategy.
You've explained round robining perfectly just there.
Well, me or Gilly?
Yeah, for those of you in the UK, Bodak. Well, he did and he didn't, because I know there's a term for round robins. Tim Denham has told me in Australia there's like it's a different Like it's the same. It's exactly the same thing.
We call them like lucky. We call them lucky something, don't we? Don't we?
Yeah, I'm not. So if you go on your betting app,
I can't remember.
Make a parlay.
I think we call them like
lucky
lucky 13
to be honest,
or
Giuliano,
lucky 31.
to be honest, Giuliano, that's what I thought. That's what I thought you meant the whole time. But the way that it was being explained was so complicated that I just got confused and just gave up.
Okay. Well, Frankie, then why don't you fucking DM me or hit me up on WhatsApp and be like, yo, can you fucking explain this to me one-on-one? You're a member of my channel, dude. That's the privilege of membership.
That's fair. But like I've heard but also I felt kind of stupid because it was like I'd heard it explained like 3 times and I was like, I thought I understood it, and then I was like,
so
no, I don't think I do.
So okay,
and then Bodak said it in about 40 seconds, and I was like, that's what it is.
Right, and that's specific to the UK.
So what's called what's called in the UK is lucky 15. I think that's the terminology. I think.
Okay,
that's what it is.
Okay, so
Bet 365, they give you this thing called an ACCA boost. So like the bet might be like 2 to 1 on, but they'll also give you like an extra 30%. I think that's where most of the profit comes from. Yeah.
Lane, I just said that Bodak explained it for those in the UK because of the terminology difference. Like, why, dude? Lane, like
it's just where you pick, where you put a couple of fights down, and then it does like a variety of those in different combinations, but put small bets on across a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, all my bets were like 25p each.
Yeah, so Bodak. So back to your question, what are locks, right? So if I had 5 locks only, you know, as opposed to like the 7 that, you know, all hit on Pratas Gary, because like, you know, there was nobody I was comfortable locking. I mean, even trusting like Barrio going in, I was iffy about. But like, what happens is basically, you know, it makes every combination of, so it's like if you have 5 locks, right, it'll make every combination of 3, okay, from those 5, and therefore if one of those fights loses, right, you still have several parlays, you know, so at the very least,
I found a website that does that for you. Yeah,
and that's called
you just give them the bets, and then it gives you all the different combinations. Then you just put it into your betting app.
Exactly, and that's protecting your money, which is another way of saying removing the house edge. And you do that first, and then you stack like your whole card parlay, like a 12-leg parlay. Then you do a 10-leg with 2 fights and not so sure, and stack those on top of it. And then if you want to fuck around with like, you know, prop bets and straight bets, I mean, I prefer to do those live, but like, you know, as long as you don't exceed what you have out, you know, on your initial round robin bet, you will not lose money. And that's to make money gambling. You first.
I feel like you shouldn't say that, Gilly. You can't tell people they won't lose money because there's always.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the best chance you have. Okay,
that's more responsible. Saying like you're minimalizing the odds of that happening.
Yeah, and I've always said that. As best
saying it's not going to happen, and you have said it's not going to happen before.
Yeah, you do talk in absolutes, Gilly. I think that's the thing.
That's where the issue is. And it might be just the terminology you're using. And
the one thing I've said in absolutes.
That's what I'm saying.
The one thing I've said in absolutes because of how literally every betting site aside from 2 are, you know, will have various algorithmic ways of fucking you and all kinds of other shit, right? The one thing I've said is if you use like if you actually follow everything I say and you've lost money, I'll know if you know, if somebody comes to me and claims that they like people, you know, occasionally people will troll me and be like, oh, I lost my house because, you know, and they're obviously full of shit. But like, if somebody loses money following the exact strategy that I use, including using one of the 2 sites, right, that I.
But can I say something quickly to that?
Loses money, I will personally reimburse them. I've said that.
Can I say something though? I just want to get to this though, because it's like. That's where terminology is really
that's an
important.
absolute. Me saying I'll personally reimburse.
Yeah, you can't deal with absolutes in gambling because that's where the danger lies, and that's where it's
of course,
people can get fucked.
Of course. Now the thing is,
people think Giuliano, I just want to land on this because it's like when you use words like locked and you won't lose money, what you're really saying is this is what I say lock. What I mean is it's the highest. This is the closest I can get to this happening than not happening.
Yeah.
And then secondly, you won't lose money is basically you saying you're also minimalizing the risk of you losing money. But both things could still happen. And that's where the terminology needs to be very, very carefully said.
And
when people are
the
gambling,
thing is,
and that's
Frankie, the thing is, Frankie, like I have said that both in videos and on live streams and everything. I've been very
I don't
careful
think you're deliberately. No, I'm saying I'm not admonishing you for that. I'm not saying you're deliberately being irresponsible. I'm saying unless these things are clarified,
it's just that
where the misunderstandings come from.
It's like, and you're not.
Because when I hear lock, and a lot of people think that when I hear lock, I'm thinking
Frankie,
guaranteed. When I'm hearing you won't lose money, I'm thinking this can't fail.
That is how you're coming across, Gilly.
Oh, okay.
But
it sounds like you're giving people guarantees. And I think that's quite irresponsible.
Bodak, try to put yourself in my position where, like, I have on video after video, right? You know, like if you go to my channel and watch every betting advice video, the amount of times that I've, been very careful with that terminology is so many that after a while, it just, I take for granted that I'm speaking in shorthand, which you're right, I shouldn't do, because there's new people coming in, and like I can't expect it. Like they just,
Have you seen that comment by Black Betty who said, "I showed you how I lost money on 2 events, and you didn't reimburse shit." Since
Betty did not use BetUS or Kiergo.
Why does it have to be a certain exchange? Like, why does it have to be so specific? Why can't
okay. Do you want me to answer that?
Yes.
I will answer that. Okay. There are algorithmic ways, first of all, that many betting sites, fuck you. I can send you videos that will break this down, in a much better way than I can, and like it's a longer time.
I'm really trying to get my head around it all. I want to understand.
Okay. I will send I'll send you everything you need to know about that. Okay.
Yes, I want to be even richer. I would like that. I mean, rich. Sorry, I mean, I want to.
I wouldn't be rich. I'm just trying to get my head around the strategies and things, and what makes a professional gambler actually make money. Like, what are they doing differently?
What makes a professional gambler make money is stopping yourself from,
which he doesn't talk about. You need a bankroll. That is the very, very basics.
Yes, you definitely. And I've said this many times. I've said this many times. If you do not have $200, okay, $200 minimum to put out on it, like, no matter how you're betting, right? You don't have $200 to put out on a UFC card, right? Before we even talk about how you're dividing that money up across different bets, if you don't have that, you should not be gambling. I've said that so many times. Like, that is 200 minimum. Like, and that's on a UFC card where people are, because.
Would you use the full 200 on a card?
If you only have $200, you should not be. I'm talking about $200 disposable. I'm not saying.
I think you're saying you use like minimum.
Yeah, but what would you use on a card?
What do I use on a card, or what should like?
So if you've got $200. How much of that $200 are you putting on a card?
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying if you I'm saying you have $200 that you're definitely putting on UFC. I'm saying if you only have $200, don't gamble at all. Like, please. Like,
so so you're not answering the question. What's the minimum bankroll then?
The minimum bankroll for a UFC card to utilize a round robin. Yeah, $200, bro. When you say bankroll, do you mean somebody's net worth, or do you mean what somebody has?
No.
Right. This is where I feel like you're being really retarded, because
if you've got 200 quid in your account, how much of it do you use when you do your next round of gambling? Don't worry about what they've got left over at home. You've got 200 quid in your account.
They're not talking about having $200 net worth.
Yeah, if you're betting on UFC, you would put the full 200 in, and you would do it very carefully by starting.
That's not the bankroll. That is not the fucking bankroll. If you're a poker player, right, you have a bankroll, because I used to play poker. I used to play poker semi-pro. So,
bro, there's so many different types of gambling. All right.
Blackjack, so
poker.
I'm just saying a bankroll is sort of
guys,
shut the fuck up a minute. Shut the fuck up. A bankroll is simply how much you've got to use to bet with.
Yes.
That is your.
That's why I said That's why I was confused when you said if you've got 200, do you put the whole 200 in? If your bankroll is $200 for a UFC card, yes, you put all of that in, and you do it very carefully, starting with round robin parlays and then subsequent parlays on top of that.
Right. Let me tell you what I understand as a bankroll. A bankroll is a pot of money that you'd use to gamble with. You wouldn't ever use the full bankroll because then you've got nothing to minimize your losses with for the next card.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Okay, the difference. A bankroll refers typically to walking into a brick and mortar casino and playing table games or baccarat or whatever, right?
Yeah, like, but I'm just using that terminology for an example. Like, if you've got $1,000 to use with to gamble with, like that would be that would be the minimum I'd use to start gambling with $1,000, and then you'd use maybe like 100 to 200.
Right.
You use a percentage of that bankroll per card, for example.
So I'm speaking specifically because it's MMA YouTube, and occasionally I'll talk about like soccer bets and everything like that. But what I say is like determine how much money you have to put out on a UFC card. Okay, of your bankroll, of your net worth, of whatever. Okay, I'm willing to spend this much. Okay, on this UFC card, you know, right? Like yesterday's card, right? Let's say you have five. You're like, okay, I have $700 on my betting site. I'm willing to take 500 of that, put towards this UFC card, okay, to potentially make however much. All right, like that, and but honestly, like. Unless you're saving money for something, it's like, it's like you really shouldn't leave money on your betting site. Like,
okay, so not in the AM, bro, has just said it perfectly without the yapping. Your unit size should be 1% of what your bankroll.
No, that's incorrect. Stop speaking in fucking terms of units, okay? This is how people like.
I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest here. I don't really understand the whole units thing, but I've never really tried.
The units thing is an antiquated, illusory way of talking. It's fucking nonsense. Anybody you hear says they have this many units out on whatever is a liar, and they're gonna charge you for their picks. Okay, units is nonsense. Okay, like you have it works on percentage. Okay. Your percentage.
Yeah, but that's why he's saying. That's why he's saying it's a percentage. This is how I know how gambling works.
No. What he's saying is it should be 1% of your bankroll per bet. That's nonsense.
All right, hang on. Before we continue, can we just acknowledge here that like all I wanted to say at the beginning. This has kind of gone off on a mad one. All I'm saying is
fine.
No. All I'm saying is like we just have to be responsible with the language that we're using, especially online, because like a lot of people will be listening and thinking, "Oh, this is a sure thing," and then they're going to spend money that they don't have, thinking it's a lot, and then lose money and then get fucked, and then they're going to be like, "Oh, Giuliano said," and then you're like, "No, that's not what I meant." So if you're very clear about the language used, do you know what I'm saying? Right. That's where I was coming from.
And you're right, and like it's like the only and like look like. Obviously, I take responsibility, or maybe not obviously, okay? But
no, let me say this. I will defend you. I will defend you in this regard, because I honestly don't think you're deliberately being irresponsible, because I get that about you. Like you're somebody who wouldn't want to.
It's difficult to
what I'm saying to you on the other side, is I can see from the other side how
I agree.
People are seeing it as irresponsible. Do you know what I mean? And I'm trying to basically show you that.
That's true, but and the thing is that like it can be difficult to consistently recapitulate an entire, sort of like spiel.
But that's the responsibility that you have.
Yes,
when
it
you
is.
Go,
the
vernacular you use is very, very important when you're online, and there's a lot of people coming in and out of your channel. So I'm saying you have the best intentions. One second, you have the best intentions when you give somebody advice on what to do. But on the other hand, all right, go ahead.
Sorry, I just asked you a question, right? So the reason that I separate prediction videos from betting advice videos is basically because I believe that you should not look at betting lines until you have your picks for a fight, because betting lines can influence, and you know this, Frankie, because it's happened to you. Betting lines will influence the way that you predict fights, right? And as much as I'd like to think I'm impervious to that, it's no one is. So basically, it's Lane. It's like Lane. The thing is, right. What Lane's accusing me of is what Frankie's saying I should do more. Okay, so which is to fully flesh out everything I'm saying, rather than
you don't have to fully explain things in a convoluted way to get your point across. What you've got to do is use the right vernacular. So instead of saying things like this is a lock and you won't lose money, you say this is the fight that I think is the highest probability of happening.
Yes.
No, but you have.
Okay, but Frankie, right away, when you say convoluted, when you say convoluted, right?
Yeah.
It's like you just said so lock being shorthand for a leg of a round robin parlay, right? Now you just said instead of saying a lock, you say this is the best chance you have of not losing money. Okay. It's like right away. It's like so where's the line between convoluted and
because it's becoming convoluted when you're saying things like locked and things like you won't lose money, which is not what you're intending to say from what you're trying. The reason why I asked you at the beginning of this conversation, how do you define a lock? Is because it seems to me like I got the impression of it. When you say lock, you're basically saying it's a guarantee. And maybe I'm being stupid in making that assumption.
So there are no guarantees, right? But
this
a lock is so
I know that.
Right, and you want to give yourself the best.
Can you understand? But can you understand why you're giving people the impression that that's what you're saying?
Of course,
and that's the danger.
Now, if I'm doing
that's where
that,
the criticism comes from.
Of course. Well, I mean, some of the criticism is just like they'll see like that a title of a video is last minute betting advice video, and then just accuse you of promoting gambling, which couldn't be further from the truth. But yes, of course, I understand what you're saying, and I probably have underestimated the degree to which, like it's like enough new like people that are new like coming to the shit like don't who don't who haven't watched like earlier betting advice videos where these things have been fully fleshed out. Like just don't know. So I mean, yeah, dude, that's something that I'll definitely take into account. Of course, try to be, and try to, but like,
the reason why I'm bringing this up is for your benefit, because it's like I feel like you're getting undue hate. And I mean, I'm also seeing the other side where people are like, when you're saying certain things that aren't coming across as the way you're portraying them, the word. That's where the disconnect is. Do you know what I mean? And I'm trying to solve that by basically saying, if you use different vernacular,
I appreciate that,
and just was very clear in what the situation was, then people wouldn't be pissed off when they lost money, or not even when they lost money, because everyone's responsible when they go, I placed this bet. But it's when you then say, this is a guarantee, and then they lose money, and then you go, do you know what I'm saying? It's like there has to be a.
The thing is, though, it's like, okay, so for example, right, I had 7 locks on Protest Gary. I picked Protest to win, but he was not somebody that I locked, right? Locked as in selected as a round robin to be a leg of a round robin parlay, right? All 7 locks hit, right? So if somebody says to me, hey, I bet the ranch straight, I made a like however many dollars straight bet on Carlos Protest and he lost, like, because I listened to you, that person didn't listen to me. You get what I'm saying? Like, they heard that I predicted Protest to beat Gary. They didn't listen to me. That's not gambling advice. Okay, predictions are different from.
No, I get that. I do understand the difference.
Yeah, but my understanding of the word lock, and this is what's used between everyone I know who gambles quite heavily. Lock it in. Place that fucking bet. That's what lock it means.
It's a guarantee.
Lock means it's a guarantee, as certain as possible.
Right,
so lock that shit in.
Yeah.
So if I say lock in your round robins, right, which I will say,
you're encouraging somebody to lock it in, or they're not going to make that money.
Or they're
That's how it comes across.
A lot of the time.
The definition of a lock, or in most people, I'd say 90% of people's eyes.
No, people say that things are a lock.
It's a dead cert.
The term that I hate the most is when people say something's free money, which is fucking retarded. Like, you know, like last night, people like Charles Radke, free money, right? Bet, yeah, you know, people making straight bets on Radke by knockout.
I mean, that
I've
feels
always
like
said,
more
don't make straight
hyperbole to
bets,
me.
don't bet over unders.
It's the same thing.
Now, I picked Radke, but I didn't. He was not a round robin. Okay, I always discourage people from betting over unders and making straight bets because you're not protected at all. If you lose that bet, you lose everything you bet. You know, you're not protected by a.
And the thing is, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from that perspective. But the point is, it's been explained in such a complicated way, and using vernacular that's not directly.
I understand what you're saying.
Highlighting the dangers of it, and this is where the problem lies. It's a combination.
And I mean, I have a whole video, like, you know, where I get into all of this. It's a long video. It's got timestamps and everything, right? Like, the thing is, like, I mean, like, after a while, it's like I assume that people, you know, and this is not my, like, I'm accepting responsibility for this. Like, I shouldn't be so quick to just assume that I'm talking only to people who know, you know, like what a round robin parlay is, and who know, you know what I mean?
Perfect example, Gilly, because I was exposed to the sort of parlays and round robins through you, and the way you were coming across is that if I copy your bets, I'm guaranteed to make money. And I just think that's a little bit irresponsible.
Right.
You should just be aware that not your entire audience isn't always going to be literate on what you're talking about. You need to be mindful of the news.
I've always come at it from a place of I want people to not lose money. Here's how I help you not lose if I can't talk you out of gambling altogether. Really? Yeah,
but and this is what the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I get that you're trying to come from like a positive place, and I think
that's
where
the thing is, like, I'm also very much like, you know, people like Lucrative James, people like Matty Betts, people, you know, people who have paywalled, you know, websites where they sell predictions and sell picks, right? Those are people that are frauds, and once again, it's like, sure, people are accountable, falling victim to that. But, you know, those people are liars representing themselves as professional gamblers, profiting off the ability to, you know, basically, you know, they're selling people bullshit. Okay. And all they're doing is sort of like feeding even more into the entity of gambling, which is in itself evil. It fucks people's lives up. Like,
you know,
that's what we need to get back to.
Right, Gilly, like, do you account for people like me? For example, I don't want you to tell me what to bet on. I want you to educate me on the strategies.
Yeah, I mean, I can like you, but and it's a very specific thing though, right? MMA is,
I think I've got the parlays and round robins down because I just did it.
Right, and Brodak, we'll talk.
I had to figure it out for myself after you've tried to explain it to me 50 times in the most convoluted way imaginable.
Yeah. So now it seems like we've broken through, right? Because you laid out your 3 and you made 17 after break even, right? But by the way, you know what break even is, right? I just want to clarify terminology. I'm not
That's me getting my money back.
Yeah, so you guarantee that you at least get the money back that you put in. I mean, that's a universal term.
Yeah, so like right away, like, you know, if you're gonna gamble intelligently right away, if you made money on a bet, right? How much? If I ask you how much you made, right? Like, you know, you subtract what you put down initially. That's you know.
I made 17 quid.
Yeah.
So I mean, specifically, I made £18.50, so I just rounded it to 20. But I turned 3 to 18, so minus 3. That's my money. So I made about 15 quid.
Right. So that's your profit after break even. So that, like, profit is profit, right? Like, you know. But
I mean, I'm chuffed. I turned 3 quid into. I made 15 quid out of it. I'm going to try again next card.
Matua's right. They want a simpler way to define the strategy. Now, this is the thing, right?
Exactly. Matua's spot on.
Right. Of course. Now, the thing is, because MMA is the most difficult sport, arguably, to consistently make money on, right? Like, it, you know, it's like, I mean, I make way more off soccer, but I do well off MMA, and like, the thing is,
I don't have an AI for football yet.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, that's why you lost that bet. But Anyway, though, like seriously.
Oh, so there's an acknowledgement that your fight pick AI is working there, Bodak. That was an acknowledgement.
Football's a different beast. The amount of
Bodak,
data in 1v1 sports is tiny compared to the data you have to analyze for team sports. And it already takes me about 20 hours to crunch the AI shit. It takes so fucking long.
You gotta.
Can you talk us through that process, Bodak? I'm quite interested. Or have you already?
If you go onto Hugging Face, you basically got all these models and stuff and the utilities to use them. So you don't need to code or anything. So you want a deep learning model, which will you leave running overnight. That will scour tens of thousands of different sources. It goes through YouTube transcripts, social media, websites. Just basically collects everything it can on the fighters. You get that data. You then use the utilities from Hugging Face to pair that with the Llama language model. That's Meta's AI, very similar to ChatGPT. And then you give it the prompts, which I've got 17 considerations. And because you've given it this abundance of MMA-specific data, all about the fighters on the card, it answers questions only on that data, and it doesn't get confused with other things like you would get on ChatGPT, for example. Plus, ChatGPT, you'll only get about 20-page scans. You want to get thousands.
She knows, but she knows a lot about AI.
Nice. Hugging Face?
Yes, Hugging Face.
What else?
Now, I don't know the name of the deep learning one. I'm going to just find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get the data. You have to scrape the data, and that's the thing that I have to leave running overnight because it takes like maybe sometimes it takes up to 16 hours.
And then
I just thought you went on ChatGPT.
You run prompts for like each fighter, or each like how do you?
No, each fight. So I use the data that I've collected, and then I use prompts in Llama for each fight with 17 considerations.
Can I ask a quick question, Bodak?
Yeah.
You know how when it scours the internet for all this information, how does it ascertain, or how do you ascertain between information that's like, because obviously there's a lot of information out there. How does it ascertain between what's bullshit and not?
I don't know, because I don't make the AI myself. You're just instructing it to say, find me everything you can.
It can't discern.
Allow Muhammad. And then it will just scour and scour and scour, picking up anything it can about him, including like social media posts and YouTube transcripts and social media. Google.
And Bodak, how do you like the whole hallucination stuff? How do you prompt in a way to like minimize hallucinations?
I don't actually know what you mean by the hallucinations. I'll be honest. Just give it.
AI like can hallucinate. It'll just like make up information to fill in gaps. That's the biggest problem that I have with AI. It's like, how do you minimize the amount of hallucinations that it has?
Okay, I haven't got that deep into it, to be honest. I'm just using the tools that you can get on Hugging Face.
So you don't you use like negative prompts to stop that?
As it's scouring information on the internet, what it does is it like, it'll be like, statement A, statement B, to fill in the gap between the two, it'll like make up information, and that's called like hallucinations. And hallucinations can be like somewhat accurate sometimes, or just like completely bullshit. And then that's like, I don't know, in like AI spaces, that's like one of the biggest problems. How do you prevent hallucinations? And like specific prompting can do that. Like being really clear and like prompting language can prevent that.
Okay.
But
that's probably how I ended up getting Brad Katona as a pick, to be honest. Hallucination.
Yeah.
Brad Katona sounds like the outcome of hallucination, to be fair. Somebody's hallucination for sure.
Yeah. I've only been doing this for like a couple of months.
So it's a refining process.
Yeah.
Wait, you're curious about how you use Hugging Face? Like you have
you just go on a website. It's all like open source. You can download the utilities.
Can I just say for a second, we've gone from complete retardation on a Sunday to a complete nerd fest. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, no, I know.
I just want to applaud us. I just want to applaud us for this sudden transformation.
You're the one that knows about AI, bro. And like, yeah.
So, Bodak, the place where my office is in the West Village in the city. It's where Hugging Face was like invested in, startup, and so they have like a giant hugging. When you walk into the offices, there's like a giant Hugging Face like logo there. It's their only good investment, though, I will say.
Wicked, man, that's fucking awesome. I'd love to visit that place and have a look. I want to understand more of it.
Nice.
Yeah, we need to start understanding this more and more. Obviously, because
He's
it's going to be a
actually
prominent
he's
part
from
of our
London.
lives.
He's the one that like invested in Hugging Face and put it together.
Yeah, Bodak, your boss invented the 3D printer, right?
I don't work for them at the minute. I was contracted to them for about 3 months. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a company called Stratasys. Yeah, he won a Nobel Prize for inventing. It's a specific type of 3D printing.
Yeah, that is very cool. But he's no Vinny, right? As far as the Nobel Academy goes.
Yeah, he hasn't got 17 laureates like Vinny claims to have, even though the record holder only has 2. But yeah.
Yeah,
Vinny claims to have 17 Nobel laureates, and the record is 2. The most anyone's ever got is 2.
Oh my
God! He claims to have 17 of them.
Yeah. Wait, the most laureates anyone's ever gotten is 2. Really? That's it now.
Yeah.
It's sorry. It's just like, you know. I mean, I know Vinny's. Obviously, I'm familiar with Vinny's. Like,
I like that. I like that. That information is what made it. Oh, Vinny's talking shit. It's like actually, it was only 2. We should have called it as soon as he started. Words started coming out of his fucking trap.
Dude, that's insane,
You know what I mean?
dude. That first stream where I brought Vinny on, it's like I would have loved to have been able to been like, you know, Vinny. What if I told you? What if I told you that 2 is the?
He also says he's a physicist, by the way.
He actually claims that.
He said he does outright claim that he's a physicist.
It's like
he's a drug dealer who shags fat.
He's not a drug dealer. That's what he is. He's not a drug dealer. He's a drug
I thought it was
addict.
funny because my education is in physics, and I thought it was really funny that he's claiming to be. That's
that's
funny.
Yeah,
he's a fucking idiot.
It's like, you know, when someone brags about something bullshit until they bump into somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, and then they're like, fuck.
Bro, it's more than that with him though, dude. It's like he does know one thing that none of us know.
What?
Unless maybe Frankie down in Thailand. What human flesh tastes like.
What? Why does he know what human flesh tastes like? Does
he
eat
took a chunk out of a cop's arm, bro. He took a chunk out of a cop's arm, bro.
I thought you meant
I
thought you meant the thing is, everyone pause there because I thought you meant he was actually.
Oh, he might drink his own titty blood too, but that's not.
Yeah,
so I immediately jumped to he's a cannibal.
Himself.
That's what I thought immediately.
He kind of is.
I'm glad you clarified
that could be too. Dude, he does. Dude, the habanero shit is fucking like. I mean, Betty's disproven like all kinds of shit. Like, I mean, you know, and so of a million.
Can someone just buy a tub of habaneros and just do what he does just to clarify? Because I just want put it to bed now. I'm sick of seeing him eat fucking habaneros like he's the king.
Yeah, I don't like getting called a dullard when somebody's just flaming up and then eating stuff for an entire thing, and then I'm being called.
Well,
I mean, I am a dullard.
Frankie,
but...
one thing that Vinny is notorious for is that whoever show he's on, like when he's getting cooked by like other people on a panel, he'll appeal to the host of that show, and this is like whether it's clown show or whoever, like he's done it with me, he's done it with No Chill,
this is how bad it is for the clown right now, that his only source of content is fucking Vinny, and that is the only thing that he's got on.
Dude, I told Matua, you say leave Vinny alone, but I think Vinny's a grown man. I told him to get on Clown Show today and defend himself, you know. I mean, you know, I'm trying to be in the kid's corner.
If Vinny wants to be left alone, he needs to stop going around attacking people.
I mean that. Yeah.
Didn't he wish death up on me?
He did.
I'm pretty sure he was wishing death up on me the other day.
Yeah,
he did. He said he wished. He said he wished. He said that he's going to pray that my life gets worse, and he said he's going to manifest. He's going to manifest my life in decline.
Bro, you should have just been like Alhamdulillah, bro. Go back to your dad rig.
Yeah.
By the way,
religion of peace and all that, you know.
Matua is being endearingly disingenuous right now, saying Vinny is smart, he is kind, he is worthy of happiness. Like, I love Matua so much, but he's completely full of shit. Matua, by the way, and Paradox, all right, like, are responsible for, like, my responsibility for bringing Vinny to MMA YouTube.
Oh my God.
Like, who was it? Because Paradox claims responsibility for that, and so do you.
Well,
yeah,
no,
you said it was you yesterday.
So Paradox and Matua, I was live streaming right in January, right? And Paradox and Matua were both in my chat. I forget who discovered his oh no, Vinny just came into my chat, right? And he started spamming like paragraph after paragraph. And he's like, bring me on. And Paradox and Matua are both like, bring him on, you know, because like he said he kept the telekinesis was the hook. And I was like, let me go to this motherfucker's channel. So I showed it on stream, and Matua could not like stop. He's telekinesis, like, and Paradox as well. So then I do, and it's, you know, and it's a vertical stream, so you can if you end the stream and then start a new one where you select, you know, the option to have, you can only have one other person on, and it's split screen, like, you know, you send the link.
I didn't even know you could do that. I thought it was just one only, and then.
No, you can do that, but you have to set it up. You can't add somebody if
you have to set it up prior.
Yeah, you have to select it. Yeah, when you're and yeah, that's that split screen footage of me and Vinny, the original shit is like, yeah, that was that. Then Paradox dips as soon as Vinny comes on.
He set you up and then bounced.
Yeah, but Matua stayed for Matua wanted telekinesis. Like, you know, Matua wasn't leaving. And, you know, it was, Matua, I loved it. Vinny came and made the craziest declaration. Yo, and Matua, I got Vinny claimed 100% prediction rate, right? At one point, as well as telling that was the first time he told to save the girl from the car crash and take her home and lecture about drunk driving, got her out of there, you know, slick before the paramedics showed up and everything. But, so I made Vinny go through his picks for the upcoming card. And he wound up going, Matua kept track, and he wound up going 4 for 12. He's still claiming 100% prediction rates, according to a few people. And last night, you know, he took a massive L, but refused to accept that his prediction rate had dropped below 100. So, you know.
Which means drop below 100. It was never near 100. He's talking about his arm.
Yes, exactly. He also had a bunch of other, like, you know, like things to say. He was very pro Hitler, but his knowledge of history was off. He didn't know anything about the beer hall putsch. He said he had this whole line of shit about how MMA Guru was secretly gay and part of the Illuminati. It was a time. Like, it was a fucking time. But then he comes back in my chat expecting to be a part of my life, like, you know, live streaming like 3-4 days later. And and the reality is, it's like he told everybody about his life, and then it's like I did kind of look into him preliminarily, and, you know, all the shit that we now know about Vinny, right? And, you know, and he irritated the fuck out of me, and so I, you know, like, I'm like, Vinny, you fucking abandoned your children, like, you know, you piece of shit, like, I warned you 6 times, and then he went elsewhere, and said he went to Bodak, he went to Clown Show, he went to, you know. And that's it. That's where we are.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Lane's pointing out that he claimed to get 13 for 13 on last week's card when it was only 12 fights.
Yeah, he won 110% or whatever. Yeah, dude, Vinny. I mean, he's like, it'd be easier to look at him like, you know, like a log cow or whatever, as the kids say, if he didn't actually like do what he did, you know, with his kids, like, which is, I mean, you know, so it's like, I mean, I've
we should stop talking about his kids though, because like,
I've said, but like, and I've stepped off of that, right? But like, it's only when he gets, you know, because he mood swings to vitriolic, like, anger. I mean, you know,
I loved Brutali's behavior during my quiz when he was putting all the pictures of, on his chair and took a baseball.
Yeah, he had his mugshot and shit. Yeah. It's just, yeah, I mean, you know,
at the end of the quiz, Brutally just starts beating the fuck out of his chair covered in Vinny posters with a baseball bat.
You know what? The niece came in yesterday, and she's like, "What the fuck are all these pictures? All these ripped up pictures of Vinny all over the place."
Bro, it's what's so crazy is the article about him, but like an article in the Miami Herald, which is obviously Miami's newspaper. Like they felt so strongly about that story that they wrote an article about the incident with the the flesh eating man who attacked the cop. But
can you bring your girl back, Philly Guinea? I want to know more about how to avoid these hallucinations.
She just left. But no,
I'm
like,
paranoid.
This is something we could definitely get into.
I didn't know anything about these hallucinations on AI. Now I'm like panicking.
I saw the pause where you were like, "Shit, this is something that I overlooked," and it's like, yeah.
Well, I mean, she was explaining to me earlier. Hallucination is just the terminology for for AI filling in gaps rather than just acknowledging that there are gaps.
Well, every now and again, my AI does just pick a wild pick. What was the one the other day? I ended up being on the predictions fight tracker. Was the only one who picked
it was last week. It was the 9-1 underdog. That was, what was it again? Hang on, let me just, because I remember you. Hang on.
Wait, I'm guessing like the Brad Katona pick and the one last week. I'm guessing they're
no. There was one last week that was wild.
Jim Miller.
It was Mason. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. Hang on a second. It wasn't Mason Jones. It was. Hang on.
Mason Jones.
It was on last week's card. I'm pretty sure.
Why'd you fucking let her leave, Gilly? She can fucking educate me on this shit.
Why'd I let her leave?
Yes, she could have educated me on these hallucinations.
Bro,
she said did she say she works at the place I'm literally pulling the models from?
Bro, she didn't awesome. She didn't just like fucking like tell me she never wanted to see me again and leave her in her apartment. She's not gone forever, bro. Like like I can put you guys in touch to talk about this shit.
Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, we're gonna have to wrap it up soon because I've got
I have a question.
I've got work.
Bodak, I have a question though. Because and you and I have talked about this. I think if because it's like a large part of predicting fights is you try to see the fight in your head and it's like, okay, if this guy were to win, how does it happen? If someone were to win, and you said that it's like, yeah, you could run two computer players, with fighters that are available to play as on UFC 5. Obviously, it's not, that's like the closest you could do to that is run 10 games, have two computer players against each other, each as one fighter. Could that possibly benefit being incorporated into your AI?
By the UFC game and just watch the computer
by running. So for example, Michael Morales probably isn't in UFC 5. I have no idea if he is. But with Protez versus Gary, for example, but you could play both of those fighters in UFC 5, I believe, right?
I don't know.
If you would run,
takes long enough anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I'm just because it's like if you could figure out a way to simulate the fights before they happen, with a degree of accuracy that I feel like that would be the key.
And how do you develop that accuracy without collecting the data? It's the same thing.
No, I'm saying when you have the data collected, then and on top of that, you're simulating the fight, because then you're allotting for every possible, or as best as you can, as many possible things that could go wrong, things that holes in styles.
Yeah, but if the AI model that is so complex, what you're asking, my understanding,
no, of course,
if the AI model's already predicted the outcome, the simulation would just go on.
What I'm saying is the simulation being before the final outcome. I mean, obviously that's a very complicated thing that I couldn't begin to understand what would go into doing that. I'm just saying that seems like it would be that would give you technology that actually would be worth billions actually of dollars.
Well, if I can get my head around avoiding these hallucinations, I mean the prompts are incredibly specific.
Right.
But again, I didn't like I said, I got into this 3 months ago because one of the jobs I was contracted to wanted to bring AI in house, and nobody knew how to put data into a language model. So they made me figure it out. That's it.
Right.
That's my AI experience. I'm
I'm
not an AI expert. I'm just a software dev.
On your predictions, right? Can you find out what does it tell you why it picks fighters? Can you delve deeper into why it picks? For the Jim Miller fight, I'm sure it picked Jim Miller, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Picked Jim Miller to beat Chase Super. What was the explanation for that?
I can't remember specifically now.
But I've asked Bodak this, and like it's that you have different like data points. Like I asked the same thing because you picked Diana Belvita, and and I was like, what? And you said it was like 21-9.
Yeah, because I've got 17 considerations, and it awards points on each consideration, and then I take the overall score, and that's who I put my pick as. Right. And then it gives me the full breakdown why it's given the points. Like, for example, it compares the output per round in striking, and then it compares to that other fighter and how often they get hit in each round and how that correlates. And then if somebody's output
does it
so MMA math.
Does it compare like age and does it compare age?
It factors in the factors in recent records, the quality of that record. So if someone's on a win streak,
you said social media, by which I think I'm guessing you mean things like updates on things like staph infection, was spotted.
Infections. It just looks for like controversy, illnesses, things like that.
What about fight camps? What about I was gonna say, what about change of fight camps? Like
change of fight camps, the success rate of that fight camp.
It
also knows it finds out who they sparring with and things like that. It knows so much. It's like I leave this thing running overnight. It collects a shit ton of data.
Do you remember?
Is there any way?
Sorry, just really quick. Do you remember who you had for Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland? The dude.
Oh God, I don't know.
Because I was because that.
How long ago was that fight? Because I do post my pics on my
It was it wasn't that long ago. The reason I asked about that specifically is because that's a training camp question. Like I feel like what's his name? He was Conor McGregor's coach for a while, but like he's like
John Kavanagh.
John Kavanagh.
Yeah, John Kavanagh. Yeah,
and then he moved into his left.
Yeah. Well, sure, but like he was still Gunnar Nelson's coach at the time of that fight, which was recently enough. And
I swear Gunnar Nelson left. He left a while ago.
I think the last time Gunnar Nelson last fought before I started doing this, mate.
Oh, really?
Who did he fight?
He fought Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland was his last fight. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I can't see a post of that fighting. I think it was before I started the experiment.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Have you still got the data sets for the
Yeah, because I would love to see what this looks like, Bodak. Like, even if you're not
for the cards, because I'm curious on the Jim Miller one specifically, like why
I don't have
why it got to the thinking.
I've only got the most recent one. You got to remember when the data's collected, it's like several gigabytes big. I don't keep I only keep the most recent one.
I can understand Alexa Grasso. I can definitely understand that. Even though you were wrong.
The next time it picks a fighter where it seems oddly suspicious that they're going to lose, I'd like to see the data set on it.
Yeah, there was
just to figure out why it's picking. Like why it picked Jim Miller, I have no fucking idea. Like,
that's why now that girl Gilliswiv's mentioned hallucinations, I had no idea that it was even a thing. I'm now just thinking it might be that, because every now and then it does just throw something mental out.
Right.
Because isn't that why they use negative prompts in like video AI and stuff like that? Because when you use video AI, it's very known to just start making up things. And when you're using it, you have to put in a lot of negative prompts to stop it.
Because it has to fill in gaps where it can't find it. Because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's. I mean.
I'm looking through the thing. I don't know if I'm actually doing the negative prompts well. I'm literally just giving it the prompts. So yeah, I need to look into this hallucination.
Imagine how badly you're going to start whooping ass when you take this into consideration.
I know.
Yeah,
it's already
we'll
it's already over
see.
65% accurate. So it's going to be.
I mean, yeah. What's your Bodak? Bodak, so you're up 12-8. We have what, 4 cards remaining. So I should be an underdog, and who, like, if people were to lay bets right now on who wins our aggregate bet, right?
We've already done the bet. It's 250.
No, I know.
Yeah.
No, I understand, but like, I'm just for the fucking hell of it. I'm saying, like, would I be what, a plus 180, plus 225, right?
What? I don't even know how you would work that.
I'm odds making for who wins. Yeah. Like, do you understand? Really,
so you're trying to make it out. So if you win the bet, I'll have to give you more money.
The favorite, probably, right? Like, being up by 4 with 4 cards to go. Okay. Wait, do you put him at like minus 180, minus 200? What? No, like,
so you've lost me, Gilly. What?
Okay. What are the okay, like, I'm at, okay, so, like, when you look at betting lines for a sporting event,
yeah,
right? Okay, there's a favorite and an underdog. Okay,
yeah.
The underdog has a plus in front of the number. The favorite has a minus, right?
Yeah,
right. So like, you would be the favorite, right? Given that you're up by 4 with 4 cards to go, right? And that, what do you think with our average amount of disagreements? Because we've had up to 6 on one card, and then as low as 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all over the place. So you have to account for that, and so therefore, like, but I imagine you would be the favorite right now.
Yeah,
well, yeah, because he's ahead by 4. Because he's ahead by 4 picks.
Yeah, with 4 cards to go.
It's like if you started a game and somebody was 4-0 up, but the thing is, it started at 0-0, which is what we need to keep.
It started. Well, yeah, and the first card it was a draw, 1-1, wasn't it? And then and then you were up like 4, I believe, 4-2, and then we had 6 disagreements on the card after that, and I won 4-2 on that card, so we were 6-6, and then yeah, it was but I'm gonna beat you, but yeah, I am an underdog right now, so
we'll see how we go once I get my head around these hallucinations, mate.
Dude, I can't. Dude, by the way, like, let me just say, Frankie, Charles Radke, that was his fight to win or lose. He fought stupidly as fuck.
I mean, every fight is someone's fight to win or lose, depending on how you.
That's not totally true. You got barn burners, bro. Like, I mean,
I like what JBD's saying. I need to make it cite every single source for why it's saying something.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but like, I mean, yeah. Don't you? I mean, do you not already? You already kind of know, right? So I get citing sources if it's pulling from, like, like, information about, like, current shit, like injuries.
That's what I was kind of asking about earlier, like how it filters, how it filters between information that's genuine and ingenuine, because I don't think AI can figure out.
The honest answer is I don't know. The thing is, it's not like ChatGPT where it does a little search for you and it looks through like 30, 40 Google results. It scours data overnight, so it's like I don't really know where that data is coming from. I just know that it's scouring the data, and I don't know where the data is coming from, because it's just too much of it. There's too much of it. You're talking about tens of thousands of results. Various formats.
This is what's great about the process, though, because you will eventually get around these issues. It's just going to take time and and troubleshooting.
With the data that you're collecting, like, say for example, it's talking about injuries. For example, like, injuries that get released on the internet may or may not be true. A lot of it's speculation.
Exactly. This is what I was
that's what we're saying.
Can you put rules in that weight like anything that's to do with injuries? You can put like a percentage weight on what to take into fact.
I don't see why not. I don't currently. It just takes the information at face value at the moment. But yeah, I think
this is where the refining
is
going to make it interesting.
So just like
so
you have there's things like Bloody Elbow and MMA Junkie that are publications that will like, I mean, they'll have whole articles where it's like, okay, this person claims this, you know, this or that or whatever, and it's like, you know, that's kind of what I guess Brule's saying, like, you know, is there a way to?
No, I'm more talking about the people that go on Twitter. Like,
well, yeah,
if it's gathering
I mean,
social
Bloody
media, then
page,
I only do 2 points for social media stuff.
Okay, so yeah, you're weighting the
so each considerations weight. So you get like 10 points based on records, 10 points on their strengths, weaknesses, and the styles like wrestling and whatnot. But then it's like 2 points for the social media, 1 point for the betting odds.
Okay, so the betting odds. I have a question about that too. When
it's just 1 point, it just gives 1 point to whoever's the favorite. That's it.
Right. Okay. And then what about? And then when you have like, because there have been, since you've done this, there have been a couple of fighters that were straight even money. Like, does it give them both a point, or are there no points given?
It will give no points. It's either no points or you get the points. If it sees it as an equal, no fighter gets the points.
And does it give more points if someone's like a massive favorite? Like, are there tiers of like that?
Nah, I just award 1 point.
1 point to the favorite.
Just one favorite. It's not specifically the favorite. It kind of follows the money line and what people are betting on.
Right. Well, but does it account for the money line changing, or is it just in the moment where it's processing it? Because like
that's what I mean. I leave it because when we shut this down tonight, I'm going to then set it off running overnight tonight, so I can run the AI tomorrow.
For Morales.
So whatever the betting odds are tonight and stuff, that's what it will be going on.
Yeah, see that's a little bit of a problem because actually betting lines.
That's very early lines.
Yeah,
I can't. I have to do it.
No, I understand that you can.
It's only one. It's only 1 point out of like a potential like 70.
No, I understand.
So it's such a small part of the betting odds because I did put a lot of weight in it before, but then I realized. I don't know if the stat still works, but this particular year, the underdog was winning more than 50% of the time. So I thought
it's also good. The way that odds makers set odds is not all is actually.
That's why I don't give it much authority anymore. But I used to put a lot of weight into that.
Yeah, no, I understand.
It has changed a lot since I started. Because when I first started it, the very first picks, there was only 10 considerations, and it's now 17. So it's an ever increasing and evolving thing. And this is my pet project to learn how to use these AI models.
Dude, Matua has a kind of like a very Harlem question for you, which is AI don't even train martial arts. Why are you even asking that thing? Who gonna win a fight?
Mate, listen, one day it'll be like the Matrix. You just fucking shove a needle in your head and AI will inject martial arts knowledge into your brain.
Word. And apparently Vinny's on Clown Show talking about probiotics. So maybe before if Betty's not already in there. Maybe
Did you just say Vinny's on the Clown Show and they're talking about
Lane said, according to Lane, he's over there now.
I'm not a health and nutrition expert, but I used to be a very big boy. I was 21 stone and I'm now 12 stone. I've lost a lot of weight, and part of that process was to learn an awful lot about fitness and diet. And I can categorically say Vinny doesn't have a fucking clue about health and nutrition.
Dude,
he doesn't have a fucking clue.
Because brutally, you know, from the if you didn't just print out the pictures, but like you've seen the his like height, weight, and everything from those arrest sheets. Like you've seen that Vinny was he was quite he was on the MMA Joey side of obese, or not like overweight obese, like 6'3", like almost 300 pounds. Vinny's lost a bit of weight, but he's still fat. But man. But he knows a lot about probiotics. So anybody who wants to learn about probiotics, hit up MMA Clown Shows. He's live right now. Let's rate him.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue actually, because I'm fucking off to bed.
All right, Frankie.
Yeah,
guys,
I need to.
First of all, can I just say thanks to this was a good one. I don't know if people agree. I like the way that the conversation went. We really got into some things. This is the kind of thing that I want Sundays to occasionally be. So shout out to everyone who was part of this. Before we
I
head
love
off,
chatting shit with you guys. You're like my
it's
favorite
fucking
people.
awesome. Yeah, Sunday has become fucking awesome. Before we go, just as always, shout out to Giuliano Argenti. Subscribe if you haven't. The Bodak Show, of course, and Brutally Honest MMA.
Brutally Honest.
We're
Let's
going to be
get
doing
this
things
man
like this on the side.
monetized.
I think we're starting to get the speaking of tweaking things, I think we're starting to get things right around here, and it's nice to have to have some positive discussions about serious things without fucking going mental on each other.
Just
dude, I did a poll. I did a poll on a live stream, right, where I said
we're leaving Giuliano.
No, this is important. This is important.
Oh, fucking hell.
Brutally honest. I said it was
so all right,
so
only half an hour left. It's fine.
No. Listen. So who I was like, of the following 4 channels, who are you most likely to buy? If you had to buy a membership to one, who are you most likely to buy a membership to? 3 out of 4 of them are monetized. Brutally Honest was the 4th. Brutally Honest won by a fucking landslide. Brutally Honest needs to be monetized. Fucking subscribe to Brutally Honest MMA.
It's a nice way
I do not
end
post content, Giuliano.
You just made a fucking video about Noodle and his eye rolling, and you live stream.
Yeah.
Stop shooting yourself in the foot.
Join me and Frankie on this AI thing. Then you can make your videos on your streams.
100%.
Yeah,
I'm down.
And also start making content, bro. You got time to splice unicorns and shit into a video outing video. Fucking,
But yeah, shout out to everyone here. Really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone in the chat who's contributed today, as always.
Subscribe to Paradox of Chad too.
And subscribe to Paradox of Chad. Yeah, we'll be back next week, same time, same place on all the channels. Thanks to all of you. This has been a very productive. I feel like we got a lot done today. I'm very proud of us.
All right.
Nice one, boys.
Nice. Yeah.
Thanks, boys.
It's been a pleasure, lads. I'll see you later.
Later, guys.
See you.
Clown Show Raid.
Clown Show Raid.